That is what I'm talking about. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, GOG Goglings. Welcome all of the lovely people who follow us here on GOG. And welcome to episode 209 of Pen and Pixels. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. This is the show that we do here every Tuesday from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern that focuses on story and narrative in games. And nothing better and more story-driven, one might say, than something like this, which, of course, is the amazing D&D with GOG stream team presenting us with more of their amazing playing stylings as we continue with Storm King's Thunder. Before I get any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support the stream. If you have not done so already, please consider us following here on GOG.com, where we have lots of awesome streamers for you, like Fraswar, who was on earlier today, for example, and those coming on in the future. If you have not done so already, please consider as well subscribing to us here on the channel. You can get awesome DRM-free emotes and things that you can use here, there, and everywhere across the Twitches, plus you can support the streamers in so doing, so that is a lovely thing to do for all of us, and we would be much appreciative of that. And last but certainly not least, if you have not done so already, please make sure to click through and check us all individually as follows, because we have our own individual follows and subsystems and Patreons and things like that, and it would be lovely to see all of you there. With that said, I'm going to do that. There we go. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome, everybody. It is a great pleasure to have everyone here. And yes, this is episode 209 of Pen and Pixels as we continue with D&D. Just a quick programming note, which is to say that I just finished last week Return of the Obra Dinn, which was awesome, and I had a great time with it. And I've decided, I thought, went back and forth about what it was that I was going to play after this. So obviously I'm doing D&D with GOG today, but starting next week for Pen and Pixels, I'm going to be starting a new game, which is actually for me an old game, and I'm going to be playing The Witcher 3. I think the time has come. I have already played 75 hours of it, so I'm about halfway through, people told me, roughly speaking, and I've got more of it to play. So I'm going to be returning to the land of Geralt. I hear some people are talking about The Witcher these days. I don't know why. I just heard this rumor, maybe that some people are talking about it, like tossing a coin to things. That's what I heard. I heard a rumor, so I thought I'd, find out more about this, white-haired, badass Batman wannabe character. I'm just kidding. He's not a wannabe. But I thought I would check that out. So I'm going to be trying to get back into playing some of that starting next week. So next Tuesday we will get into The Witcher, and I'll be playing some of that. And of course we'll continue to do D&D with GOG once a month, and that will be lovely. But that's what we're doing as of next week. But today we are continuing, as I say, with some Dungeons and Dragons. And so accordingly, I'm going to unmute myself so the folks know that we are ready to go. And then I am going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to head over there to reveal what you see before you, which is a lot of dice that have been rolled on the ground. That's a lot of dice. That's a lot of, someone just threw dice up all on the screen. But it is a great pleasure to see all of my wonderful players. It's going to be awesome. You never played The Witcher past the first 3 missions. Is that bad? No, it's good, Gigafrost, because you're about to see someone who played a lot more missions than that. So you're going to see much more of it. And you should also see the origin story of The Witcher, which you can find by looking at a certain Darksaber 2 case playthrough happening here on GOG.com. Check your local listings. But before we go any further, I do want to introduce my lovely players, starting with the person right below us, the GOG stream boss. We have to think of, there needs to be something that's like a greater title than just stream boss. Like stream matriarch is too obvious. Like something like stream empress, stream destructress, leader of the 4 Isles. I don't know, something. Like there has to be some kind of title that we need to come up with. And of course I'm speaking about the wonderful Pyron Jade. So hi Pyron, how are you? Do you have a title for yourself? Do you have a title that would
Never
work?
in my life heard anybody say like, oh, but matriarch is too obvious.
Well, because they'd be like, oh yeah, well of course, blah 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 blah. No, we need something.
Spoken like a true patriarch there.
There you go. How are you, Pyron?
I'm doing fine. Everything's good. And I'm playing, as always, Greta Goldenfire, Dwarven Cleric of Folters, May his line shine on your way, and he shone a lot of light on a Yak-goat village people, and so now we're running from that.
Yeah, I mean that's shown a light. I think that's appropriate. That's exactly what happened. There was in no way any kind of. I like how he's shown his light and you were just there watching, right? Like you weren't an active part of this light shining. You were just there.
Channeled it.
Yeah. No, you're just the messenger. Of course.
Thing that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. No, of course, you're just the channel.
Which might have been a bit bad misjudging the situation on my part, but
well, it did involve quite a fight. We'll see how that all goes. Oh my God. Memories and 8-Bit subscribe Pyron Jade, commander of the stream team, administrator of the released list, giver of keys, speaker of wisdom, enthusiast of penguins. This is pretty good, but I don't know, like CSTARLGKSW, that's like Sidarlguxwep something like that's what we would call her. Anyway, 8-Bit, thank you for the resub. Of course, the great Memories in 8-Bit. Thank you, man. Thank you.
That is wonderful. I like that list of titles.
Yes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And each one has to be commander of the street. It has to be like very dramatic with a waver in the voice. Thank you, 8-Bit, very much for the resub. We appreciate it very much, sir. And you should all follow 8-Bit because he's an awesome dude and streamer. But thank you, Pyron. I'm very excited to see how Greta, watches other things being given the light of Faltus today, passively, while not having anything to do with that. Moving right on down the line, it is also a great pleasure to have Darksaber. No, wait a second. Gotta look. Darksaber 2K, but I've got to see what is the shirt this today is like.
It's Star Wars and Iron Maiden.
That's awesome. I was like, what am I looking at? Like, now I understand.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Also known as The Mandalorian, which, by the way, you should all watch. It's amazing.
Want to see that.
Oh God, it's so good. Anyway, but pleasure to have you here as always, Saber. How is life, the universe with you, and who are you playing, sir?
I've been pretty busy tossing a coin to The Witcher here on GOG for the last few weeks. I had to get it in at one point, get it out of the way.
That's good. I see what you did there.
And I am playing Celsig Mauer, who is disturbingly becoming the most sensible member of the party lately.
That's right. Well, I wanted to say, Coven just posted that Celsig's my favorite character, and I put an arrow under it because a lot of people lately have been asking me what would happen with Celsig. Apparently, they see you as the person that's likely to have something happen to them. I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, well, he may not make it. I guess they think they're not going to. I think basically it means they don't think you're not going to make it, and they're giving me the whole, don't treat him. He better not be killed off because otherwise there'll be problems. I'm like, listen, don't blame me. It's all Faltus is doing. Like, I have nothing to do with it. I'm just here.
Oh, last session I had to spend most of it not getting involved in a fight because there was a lot of people between me and the rest of the party who would just turn around and go, bugger off.
Yes. After stealthing over, at which point Greta's like, and you're like, well, no more stealth. Oh man.
That was Darksaber 2K stealth while Celsig is trying to do actual stealth.
Yeah, exactly. It's different versions of stealth. Well, it is a great pleasure to have Saber with us today. Thank you again publicly for handling Dashboard and Moobot, sir. I appreciate it very much. Great pleasure. You should all be following Saber. He's an awesome guy. Also an awesome person who you should be following on his new career path or his developed career path on Twitter as he becomes a Peripheral Mike. I now actually remember that name. And that, of course, is our good friend Mike Smith, the artist formerly known as Screaming Joypad and now Peripheral Mike. How are you, sir? How's life, the universe with you, and who are you playing?
It is just awesome to be here. I just had to quickly make sure, because I'm a consummate professional, I just had to make sure I hadn't left myself on mute there. Yeah, it's just amazing to be playing D&D again. I love this group. I love this game. I love how so many people I follow on Twitter and online and in social media space are just getting into Dungeons and Dragons and meeting some of the creators and some of the influential people around it. Just either being capable of being able to say, yes, I play Dungeons and Dragons and I like it and I'm proud of that, or actually experiencing it for the first time and just watching them kind of take their first steps into the adventure and take their first steps into this world. It just my heart. It really does, because it's absolutely fantastic. We've been playing this for a couple of years now. Myself playing Urash, the half-orc barbarian and devout follower of Tempest, and questionable judger of distances and time and depth of items, or freefaller, I think they call him, or cliff diver or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the whole thing is going well. As Arv mentioned, I have changed my Twitter handle recently to Peripheral Mike. That very, very quickly is to sync up with my own company, Peripheral Media. No plug, don't worry. But basically, I'm actually getting my finger out and starting to line up all of my social media accounts. So hopefully now, fingers crossed, I won't get tempted to just go, hey, I thought of a cool name, I'm just going to change all of my branding. So I hope everything will kind of stay as it is.
I think that's good. We're all pushing, just we're pushing for sponsorship. So just Peripheral Media.
Yes,
If you'd like to sponsor us,
absolutely.
that'll be great.
As soon as I start doing more of those courses, yeah, absolutely. But I will remain myself. D&D, video game soundtracks on vinyl, games, nerdery, basically tech in general. So yeah, that's what you can expect from me from now on. Thank you.
Good stuff. I appreciate it. And yes, I expect we're going to have a lot of these things, just like, and that critical hit was brought to you by Peripheral Mike, who does, like that's just this image. This is where we're going. Everything. All of you start wearing patches, like the GOG patch over here, like the PM patch over here. Like Saber gets sponsored by. Saber gets like 3 metal band sponsorships.
Ad campaigns are available at very reasonable prices.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Like, Saber gets sponsored by 3 metal bands. He's just like on the top. He's just like, yeah, that's right. Like, this reminds me of that time I was at Coachella. And while we're talking of Coachella, are you?
No, what's true? I've just got a bracelet and it's like, yeah, I misunderstood what they meant.
Not that. That's funny. But anyway, it is a great. Yeah, see, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Look at that branding. See, on cue. I don't even have my shirt is currently in the wash. I've got to be better about that and make sure I bring it out for these. Also good to see Dan Van Dam. So let's get started, everybody. We today are here in the just about, at least, in the home of the fire giants. The party has been trying to track down what has caused the giants as a culture, as a society, to basically go crazy, why they are attacking villages, why they have come out of their mountain and hill and water and cloud and fire homes and have decided to start marauding the good people of the Sword Coast. What they've discovered is that there's actually a lot going on behind the scenes relating to the structure, the governing structure of the giants, and that the main governing structure, which is basically known as this thing called the Ordning, has been broken, and King Hecaton, who has previously ruled that Ordning, has disappeared, has vanished, and no one knows where he's gone, but it means that there is a power vacuum, and into the vacuum have stepped his 3 daughters, who are battling for control. That has caused problems, as has not caused problems by Coven Guy just subscribing. Thank you very much, Coven Guy, for the resub. I appreciate it, man. 5 months, that tier 1 sub. Thank you, Coven. Thank you. So
we often have this sub trains while we're playing D&D, and I absolutely love it. Like, this is, people come especially for D&D like, hey, it's D&D time, it's time to resub.
I know it. It's cool. I love it too. It is the greatest of games. I love D&D. Anyway, so they are trying to figure out how to address this, and they have to figure out how to basically discover where King Hecaton has gone and restore him to position, restore him to order. And so the party, after being told by the Oracle of the Allfather, which is the sort of the one that gives visions to the giants of where they could find Hecaton, they need something to teleport to the prison where he's being kept. This thing, which is a conch of teleportation, basically this shell. And so the party was told that one place they could get this was in the Forge of the Fire Giants, run by Duke Zalto, a very intimidating and dangerous looking leader of the Fire Giants. And so the party went, defeated a chimera, no big deal, climbed up the side of the mountain, and ended up getting up to the side of the mountain. There was a little bit of a side venture of Greta into this dream world where a smith made some promises about things that it could forge for her and so forth. And the party forged onward and found themselves in a very odd village run by these huge minotaur-looking like creatures known as the Yak Folk. The party thought that they had a handle on this, and then it turns out that the party was kind of knocked unconscious, or at least most of them were, except for Darksaber, except for Selsig, I beg your pardon. Who the hell's Darksaber? Selsig is what I meant. Except for Selsig Mara, who in their hut had to figure out a way to wake up the party to try to get allies and to get them the hell out and into where they're supposed to be going, which is the Forge of the Fire Giants. He did discover a way to do this in part by freeing some of the slaves that he saw there, these strange elvish creatures that are known as moon elves, a very rare kind of elf that he not only released, but which ultimately helped them, because when Greta was woken up and Greta and River saw these creatures coming, basically all hell broke loose, and a huge battle ensued between the Yak Folk and the intrepid members of the party. And although the members of the party are awesome and are all level 7, this is a village of a lot of Yak Folk that are all pretty powerful creatures. And so a lot of people were knocked silly, in fact, so silly that they were, some of them, in the unconscious range. Greta, for example, who was knocked unconscious for a while. River, who is still very hurt. Selsig, who got a little bit of damage. Urash, who got the hell beat out of him although he's still standing. All of them, bruised and battered, were saved by the intervention of those same moon elves which Selsig had himself saved. And it's a good thing, because otherwise I'm not sure we'd be having this discussion. I'd be like, welcome to a new adventure. Might have been what I was saying had that not happened. But he did save them, and the elves managed to essentially perform an act to stop time, an extraordinarily powerful action, and one which has created a great deal of strain. And so at the very end of our last session, the party had just been reunited, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong about this party, but I think we decided that they were in fact reunited, and that they had emerged from the central hut and had been told to run towards the elevator platform, which the moon elves pointed out, leading down into the forge. And so we are out of initiative for just a moment, but only for sort of convenience sake, I guess I would say, because as I hand things back over to the party, I will say that they can begin to see some of the creatures starting to move again, the yak folk and such. So I'm going to bring us over again to where they all are. The party right now is right here. There we go. And I'm going to say that you're about here from that central hut. And I think we also have, let me make sure that I got that right. Yep. Oh, no, what did I do? Stop. Okay.
Our planet needs us.
Exactly.
Not that giant.
But elsewhere on Earth. Okay, there they are. There is the party. And this is where you were told to basically run. And so I'm going to start the music, and I'm going to give the party a chance. And I'm going to let them know I'm not doing initiative yet, but definitely the spell is either wearing off or the moon elves are growing too tired to maintain it. And so the party is going to need to make actions here very soon. So let me get some music going. Let's go, Kevin McLeod. What do you got for me?
I actually is very quickly tweeting about this stream because I forgot to do so before.
It's a free action.
Okay, that is
Yes,
a free action.
it's a bonus
free
action
to tweet. Hey, welcome back, Rocky.
Again, wish
see
it
you,
was a
Rocky.
bonus action sometimes.
All right. Yeah, what's with people named River being so hurt these last few weeks? I know. Well, listen. I mean, this is what happens when you get this part of the campaigns. All right, folks. So I'm handing things back over to you.
Well.
The yak folk are beginning to move. There's also an earth elemental you were fighting that has also been slowed, and you see it beginning to move. So my question is, where the hell are you going?
Did the elf tell us that we need to go through the big two doors?
That's correct. That was where the elevator platform could be found. That's right.
I think they told us it's going down to the mines, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Which was where we needed to go.
If I may quote Lord of the Rings, into the mines.
Into the mines.
Nothing bad's ever happened in mines in fantasy, so I feel confident about this direction.
Yes, I think
I'm
it's
absolutely fine with
perfectly
that.
reasonable.
Then this is where we should go.
All right, so as you then bolt towards these doors, you run towards them, and as you get to the front here, let's see. I'm also going to give control for the moment of River to one of you. Is anyone willing to Jaeger River temporarily? Possibly.
I don't really know how magic works in D&D.
I don't know that either, but I can try.
Okay, let me give it to you, Pyron, because at least you do cast spells on occasion, and on more than occasion. Also, I will mention, I should have said before, for those of you who are asking questions in chat, yes, Chai is not with us at the moment because Chai is dealing with a baby that was awake all night, and for those of us, Pyron and myself, who are parents, we know that feel, and so she is very, very tired. She was going to try to take naps and be able to be with us, but there is I'd say a 60-40 chance that she won't be with us given, the fact that she's getting sleep, which is 1,000,000,000,000% fine. We hope that Chai gets plenty of rest. Everyone's fine. No one's in mortal danger. They're just really tired. So that's the deal with that. And yeah. So having said all of that.
This is something I really want to say. Like, this is completely fine.
Yes.
Like, seriously. Like, I've been there, and I was really impressed that she actually even tried to be here tonight.
Agreed.
And that was wonderful and nice of her, and that is not working out. This is fine. This is like completely fine.
Yes, totally agree. In fact, we tried to push this. We actually did the last session early in December so that we could get her in before the baby was delivered. Now the baby was delivered, we're like, maybe if we do it towards the end of the month, we might have a shot. And maybe almost, but no, baby Chai is much more important than what we're doing here. So best of luck to her. Everything is okay, but just, she's tired, so she's probably getting some good rest. So with that said, and she plays River, by the way, and the Dragonborn Sorcerer, who will today be Jaegered, no doubt, with great skill and verve and vigor by Pyron. Okay. So the party now has got these doors they're running towards. So as you run, you can hear the sort of sounds of screaming begin, but it's sort of this like, you know, you hear this sort of sound beginning to emerge as if a you know, a sort of sound effect is being zipped up so that you can just start to hear it. And so, yeah, you're now beginning to hear that sound come about, which as you see these creatures begin to move. When you get to the door, though, I'll just move you folks up here and then you can take control of your own tokens. But when you get to the door itself is a set of these double doors, which are wooden. At the moment, they are closed. And apparently, at least initially, locked. But there is a rather large keyhole that is on the doors themselves.
I want to immediately veto Urash using me as a lockpick.
Okay. What's
Very
up, Kilgore?
Okay.
We've had some strange suggestions with how to use me as a tool over the past few sessions.
Yes. Use them as a battering ram. Okay.
I find you more useful as a measuring device, personally.
Yes.
Okay. So absent that, what else would you like to? What else would you like to do instead?
I just pushed the door. Maybe it's open.
The door does appear to be locked.
Okay, well, that's...
I shove Celsic towards the door. Do it. Do the thing. Do the
Yeah,
thing. Do the
yeah.
thing. Do the thing.
I'm already pulling out
do
my
it, do
thieves'
it.
kit.
All right. So
Like,
I'm going to.
Celtic is doing that. I'm doing a healing spell, please.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, you go ahead and
Yes.
roll your healing spell.
I have nothing to heal with.
Work? It did work. Okay. Submit.
Yeah, and you might. A couple of you might have a healing potion still. I don't know. I'm not sure if anyone
No,
does or
I'm
not.
pretty sure I quaffed all of
You
mine.
used it. Okay.
Okay,
Pretty sure. I think it is. Anyway, let me just check my inventory.
that's 8
I've got one.
healing for everyone.
How
Okay.
badly damaged was Urash? Like, visibly badly
Oh,
injured?
no. I have 25
Okay.
hit points left. I'm fine.
No, that's
Now
barely
he's
a
up to
light
35.
scratch.
Now he's up to 35.
Oh, now I'm better. Oh, I'm
Um,
basically fine. This is like a Sunday morning
So-
to me. It's cool.
Celsic
I
is
look dead.
43.
Excellent, full health again.
Greta is
My impaled foot feels great.
Greta's at 12, I believe. Or no, Greta's at. I'm sorry, I did
I'm
that
at 10
wrong.
now.
I calculated that wrong. Not you're at 33, Urash. Sorry, she restored 8 points.
Oh,
I'm
yep,
going
sorry,
to toss my healing potion at Greta as I'm reaching for it, because I imagine she looks pretty badly beaten up.
I would
Toss
say
a
that's
healing
fair.
potion
Yes.
to your cleric.
Toss a potion to your cleric. Okay,
Okay,
so
now it's died.
I should have Greta make a dexterity check. You fumble it smashes on the ground. God damn it. I'm just kidding. I'm not
Oh,
gonna make
no.
We got into trouble because I opened a door.
it. Yeah, well,
It was the fireball after the opening of the
yeah, I
door.
was
The
gonna
trouble
say,
started.
you're sort of bearing the
Actually,
lead there.
Yeah,
like,
he's got you there.
I mean, like, okay.
Can you open the door? I don't know where I am. Whoosh!
Okay, what? I drink the I drink the healing potion. How much do I get?
I believe that healing potion is 2d4 plus 1, if I'm not mistaken.
24 plus 1. Okay.
Before.
I believe that is right.
Always have a pack rat on your team.
Yeah, you always need to do that. And give me 1 second. I will address the picking of the lock in just a minute. Okay, so what do we got? So we got 6.
I pick the lock with my face.
The lock is now picked. Okay. Let's see. All right. So, all right. You can now. So now what you're going to be able to do is to pick the lock. So you're going to be doing a dexterity check for me, but you'll be able to add your proficiency bonus to it since you are using your thieves' tools.
Oh, yes. Come on. Ah, 13.
Okay. So you do actually. Fortunately, this is not. You've dealt with better locks in your time, so it's like this thing is like.
Tempest.
And it opens, but as it opens, you hear a from inside the lock. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw as something flies out of the lock at you.
It wasn't really time to check for traps. Oh, but halfling
Oh,
luck.
halfling luck. Oh man.
19.
You saw it, wanted to go back to the 1 right there. It was so you do duck out of the way just like whoosh, as it flies past you and lies on the ground. It looks like a needle of some kind, but you avoided it. So, and Greta, you're up to 16 now, right? Am I?
Yes, I have 16.
Okay. So the doors swing open to reveal your doom. No, to reveal
6 ice giants.
yeah, exactly. To reveal
We're
5
running
dragons.
out of the castle of the fire giant, like hot, 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 hot.
Exactly. Okay. So you see a very large area here, and what seems like a very impressive looking structure in the middle, which I will describe in just a moment, just as soon as I'm done revealing all of it. Okay. And let's go down there. And one more. You can do it. Okay, good. Lovely. So, this is what you see. As I flip back.
Water wheel.
This is what you see. There is a rough-hewn passage here, which is blocked by an iron portcullis. So the door's open, and you're like, yes! And then there's a portcullis there.
And you're like, no!
Yeah, exactly. And behind the portcullis, you hear the sound of rushing water. And also see a there's a somewhat dark chamber within here. I've revealed most of it, but you can kind of see only basically about half of this. Well, actually, wait a minute. No, all of you have dark vision, don't you?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, so actually, never mind. So you do see all this. And you see what looks like this vast chamber, a ceiling much larger than what you're actually able to see from your vantage point right now. But there is what looks like a iron rig that is bolted to the pit that's in the middle here, a huge pit, circular rim. And there is a 60-foot diameter circular platform that is made from oak beams held together by iron bands and rivets, which is just as you look through the portcullis, and comes to a stop, and it's swaying slightly as if it's just come to the top right now. Nothing is getting off it, but it's a fairly large platform, and it's a mega huge sort of chamber, as I mentioned. And the thing you can see behind it, this thing that's right here, seems to be a massive, like a wheel shaft of some kind, which is being turned somewhere. And you heard that sound of rushing river. If you had to guess, this might be like a water wheel or something like that that is turning and controlling it. But it's still turning, and as you look, you can see the chain above it has, which wound up the elevator one way, is, as it continues to turn, folding over and beginning to get ready to unwind. So if you had to guess, your guess would be that the elevator is going to start going down again not very long from now. The bigger problem, of course, is the fact that you have a closed portcullis in front of you.
So I push Urash towards it, but push myself away from Urash due to physics.
Okay.
Go on, lift it!
Is there like an obvious lever to open it?
Well, make a perception check for me.
I will make that challenge. Probably not. I don't know. I have advanced to perception. Oh, I don't have the thing.
Ooh,
What did I roll? What did I roll?
So
Don't have the
Orash
thing.
has a 14, Greta with an 18, and Celsig with the critical. You see all things. It's just wireframe. Everything is just like,
Yeah.
detective vision. No,
You see the code.
You see all stuff. So as you look through the up and down, you do not see any switch on the portcullis. But you do see on the so you can really only see about halfway into this chamber just because of the distance. Each of these are 10-foot squares. But you can see that there are crates and things like that on the other side. And you can see indeed that this thing is winding in such a way that as it unwinds, the elevator is going to lower, pretty soon. The portcullis itself does have a bar across the bottom, like a crossbar, which theoretically you could grab and pull up. But it's, not only is it a portcullis, it's a giant-sized portcullis. And so, I shouldn't say giant-sized. It's sized for... Well, no, it is giant-sized. I take that back. Yes, it is giant-sized. It's very large. So it's a big iron portcullis, but there is a bar that you could kind of grab onto. So,
how wide
Okay.
are the bars? Like how far apart
I
horizontally?
rolled a strength of 25. Does that help?
Oh!
wow.
I'm just like, whoosh.
I had a motivational taunt ready and everything.
I was going to say, so the bars are probably about maybe 2 feet apart. You might be able to sort of squeeze through them yourself, Celsig, but it's a sure bet that Urash couldn't. Probably not River pushing it on Greta, being able to get through these things. I mean, the completely svelte Greta, who is, fully like fit and can handle
Not in plate mail.
Yeah. Let's just be clear, 2 feet is not a lot of room, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd motion for Celsius to go through. Maybe there's a lever on the other
Yeah,
side.
I throw my pack through ahead of me and I try and squeeze through.
Okay. So you do that. You hold it up. Now you were able to hold this up line up, and it is crushing weight, Orash. Like this is this is no joke right now.
Yep.
But so you get underneath. Greta, you are as well.
No. No.
No, you're staying on this side.
You made it look like it will not fit, so I will not do this because that will.
No. He's holding it up. You can fit underneath.
Okay,
I'm
getting underneath.
I was saying pushing it because you're a normal-sized person, not a small halfling. You will note that I also said the river can't make it in either.
I figured that's because she has a tail.
No, not because of her tail. Although that's a good point. Yeah, maybe she's stuck under it. Now that I think of it, no. Okay, so you get to the other side. Celsig, you're doing the same thing. Is River going, Pyron, or the other side?
Yes, she's also going.
Okay. His arms grow weak waiting. Yeah, I know. While the discussion's happening. Guys? Okay.
I'm just like, guys, choose. Just fucking choose, okay?
Little problem.
Time is a factor here.
Little problem what?
More than you think! Because I know about the platform.
Yeah. What's
Little
up?
problem concerning River. Chai does not have a character sheet online.
Oh, yeah, she
That's
doesn't.
an excellent point. We never saw it around. But we could just wing it and pretend that she's got so many spells.
Oh, that's true. We'll have to talk to her about this. See, I need to have a nice sit down and talking to her, try and be like, now you have had over a year to put this online. Okay, she's been busy. All right. We will do the best that we can. I don't honestly know because I don't think I have. I would check maybe just double check in the Discord channel and see if she posted it up there. I don't know if she has.
No, she did not.
Okay. Shoot. Well, we'll do the best we can. In the meantime, I will use
Wolf.
level 7 Dragonborn.
Did you give her a template or something? I can just find it.
Yeah,
She
that's what
never
I'm
had
gonna
one on roll 20.
No.
Time's a factor, guys. Time's a factor.
While I'm looking, you're still having to hold on to it.
I'm
No,
just
it's
like,
fine.
oh my god, this is so heavy.
What's the point of all them muscles if you can't hold up a bloody portcullis?
Exactly. Nice.
Do you want to try and hold this up?
Control a bloody log. That was good stuff. Good work. Well done. Okay. Where's my pre-generated characters at? Why this is missing? Why is this missing now? Okay, there's this. There's that. Yeah, whatever. Don't care. Okay. Man, I'm getting like D&D spam things. I don't need any of this. I need 7th edition. Goddamn stupid. Okay. There's drop. Okay, good. There we go. All right, and then
Still
this.
let us have a fight tonight, and it's all fine. Okay.
Yeah, that she has no problem. I mean, this part is going to be fine, but she will have to do checks at some point. Like I predict that this will occur. Okay, here we go. I am putting into Discord. I'm going to drag and drop a template of a level 7 Dragonborn sorcerer. Now, this is not going to have her specifics, but it'll be close enough for
Okay,
rock and
gonna
roll.
use that then.
Okay. All right. So, Celsig, you want to move your character
Yes.
over into there?
Oh, yeah, I'm all the way down here. Yep, over it.
Okay. So, Celsig does that. All right. Now, Urash, if you're going to pull yourself through, you're going to have to basically kind of do one of the and then, launch yourself forward type of things, which means you're going to need to make one more athletics check or strength, whichever, to be able to
telling me what you wish me to roll.
do jump throw. So I would say athletics check if you have it
Jump
to
throw.
try to basically, well, later
I do.
the jump part is just the get out of the way of the falling portcullis, basically.
Please be with me, dice gods. 18.
Yeah. So you push the thing up, jump forward, and the thing crashes about a centimeter from your foot. Like you literally feel the back of your foot, it just rub along the back, and you're like, like a slight foot burn, like just from the type of
Take
thing.
a single point of damage.
Exactly. It hits your boot or whatever. But you're now on the other side, and none too soon, because now the yak folk come screaming up through. You can see that they're now moving at normal speed, and they are bolting towards the doors, these open doors right here. And you're now on the other side. Why don't you go back and
I nudge Urasha. How have they got in here?
No, they're running towards the doors here.
Yeah, but they must have a way of getting in from that side.
Yeah.
Otherwise they've locked themselves out.
Maybe we should hide.
And you hear behind you that as the elevator, as you turn around the platform, looks like it's starting to descend.
On the platform, quick!
Yes, everybody?
I'm already jumping onto it. Grabbing my back as I go.
Where is the platform? Is this the platform?
This is the platform, right? There's actually, it's a circular platform. It's like more or less
cool.
Here, if you will.
I think this will get us down without falling down.
Sorry,
Arash.
Just quickly. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm not going to be able to plummet to my doom. I said I will be very angry when I do so. Are there any makeshift weapons as I'm trotting my way through? Because I'm still unarmed.
Don't you have a greatsword?
Here we are.
No.
I thought you had a greatsword.
Gear from the hut when you came in with me.
Did I not throw it at someone?
You may have thrown the greatsword at someone. That's true. I think you're right. You're not armed at the moment because you don't have because your great axe was the only thing you didn't find in your gear.
Yes, very true. So I'm currently unarmed and naturally unarmored, but I'm less concerned about that. I'm just concerned if I can find like a stick or a pike or something like an improvised weapon. Basically, is what I'm talking about.
Do you say anything about that?
Did I what? I'm sorry.
Urash, do you mention that you need a weapon or anything?
No, I'm looking around. Like, so when we're running from like say this section over to the platform, I'm looking on like these crates and I'm looking over here and I'm just seeing if there's anything I can quickly grab to make an improvised weapon out of. Do I see anything? Do you need me to roll a perception check?
So what I was going to say was, as you're sort of running, there's that crate there. There's also some room up here to the northwest, and it looks like a sort of antechamber. By the way, I should mention now that you're inside this room, the ceiling is 50 feet high. So this is indeed a very large ceiling, and this pit that you're in, like the shaft into which the elevator is starting to descend, looks to be very long and very bottomless, and there is an uncomfortable sensation of heat emanating from it that's kind of rising up towards you. Now, having said that, so there is a room there, so you could do that. You're probably, Urash, not going to have time to do much more than either check the room or try to, break open a crate. There is a lever that you notice on this side of the room as well. You don't know what that's for, but there's also a lever.
Nope.
Definitely not touching that. I've played enough Dark Souls to know never pull a lever unless you know it's next to a door.
It says shortcut unlocked. And
yeah.
Hey, pull all of them. That's where the fun is.
Okay.
But not this time.
So I would like to just quickly sprint over here.
Okay.
And so is this entire circular area the platform, or is it just the section that the party is standing on?
It's just the... Okay, let me see.
Is it the semicircle that the party is standing on?
Yes, exactly.
So
no, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry.
This bit.
It's a little bit, yeah. It's pretty much right. It's that.
Yeah.
It's that bit of it. That's what's visible, but it is actually an entire circular platform. It's a very large platform, and if you had to guess, this is probably what's used to like haul stuff out of and into the mines. This, like, the chain is huge. And even though there's a little bit of creaking, it doesn't seem to be coming from any problems with weight. I mean, like, they look like they're really heavy, like heavy-duty chains with a really heavy-duty winch. And so it's a large platform. So, yeah, it pretty much is like, if I were to freehand it, it's not quite that entire diameter, but it's like, like that, I would say.
Okay, cool. So
Except that circular and not terribly drawn,
I would like to, because I can withstand a pretty hefty fall. If this starts going down, I doubt it's going to plummet. I'm going to run to this corner and peek. I say peek. I'm going to look round this corner with using only my head. It's not exactly peeking. I'm not trying to hide. I'm just trying to look around the corner to see what's in there.
Okay. What you see here is what looks like a some kind of a spiral staircase with 10-foot wide stone steps that descend into darkness.
Oh. Maybe that would have been a good
Wow.
idea.
I'm just like, guys, there's a staircase here.
And they say, "What?" Like, is there? You know, because they're down below.
They're just like, what?
Oh, well.
But there is a spiral.
Well-
I mean, you listen. You could always go down that way if you want. You know, Arash, you could always go down that way, and you know.
I could, but that would mean splitting the pie.
What do you mean?
Say much
I
longer.
know-
That's going to happen anyway.
I know. No, I'm going back to the platform.
Splitting the
I know,
party's worked really
I'm-
well for you guys so far.
I'm going to run back to the platform.
Okay.
If
The
you
platform
click
is
on
now about 10 feet below you, so you take a little bit of a drop. I'm going to ask you to make a dexterity or acrobatics check. It's not a tough one, though. It's a pretty big
Cool, I'll take
platform.
acrobatics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You actually hit it. You, you can either, parkour roll, or you can Avengers style, like Avengers Land, Captain
Definitely
America.
MCU knee landing.
Okay,
terrible
okay,
from
good.
College.
Good. I was just watching the other day. I have Disney Plus for The Mandalorian, and I was watching Winter Soldier again, and I was watching the greatest action scene ever
Oh,
put
it's
to film,
such
which
a
is the
good
elevator
movie.
fight. That elevator fight with the helicopter.
that elevator fight is so good.
And he ends at the end with the shield hitting the ground. So
Yeah.
good. Anyway.
It's really
Giving
good.
ideas. We're on an elevator right now.
Yeah,
Mm.
good idea. Let's say no. This is the part where I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Are you kidding me? He's heading to the garage." Anyway, I love that scene. So,
Yeah.
so the elevator begins to continues to descend, and you hear sort of shouting above you, and you can hear what sounds like metal beginning to pull and scrape, as if perhaps the portcullis is being lifted again. As you sort of descend below the level of where you can be seen. So it continues to go down and down and down and down. And after about, I would say, a minute, it goes at a fairly good pace, actually, for something of its size. You find yourself, let me move you all to a new map.
In the barracks.
You find yourself in Duke Shalto's mouth and destroyed. And you are consumed. Okay. All right. You find yourselves...
An elevator. What would Memories in 8-bit do? Die. He would die.
That's exactly what you do. You find yourselves here, and I will bring chat over to this. So you find yourself in
Open
this...
to 24. How many?
That's
No.
right. This is only the first level. There is another level below this at least. And this level that you can see here is
We never gonna find one.
there is basically this ring-shaped gantry which is bolted to the wall of the elevator shaft. And so as you kind of get down below, the elevator seems to be, you hear a little clicking sound, and then it starts to slow, chick, 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 clunk, and then stops. And then you can still hear the chain rolling, and you can see that the chain is gathering on the winch above you, as if this, after a certain period of time, is going to again start descending from the level where you are. But you also hear screaming above you, and as you look up, you see a yak folk head poke its head over the edge of the pit and look down at you. Now you're a good distance below, but you hear them look down and then they yell in some language to someone on the other side of the pit that you can't see. But they're definitely yelling to the northeastern portion of the pit, whatever that means. So basically, you are on this elevator. It looks like there's a lower level too, another lower level, not two, but also. And the yak folk have seen that you were on this platform.
So there's apparently a tunnel left and right from us. Can we see anything now that we're at this level?
You can see indeed a little bit more. And I will show you. Let's put this like this.
Like if there's a sign like conch storage.
Yes. Conch this way, right?
This is the
Anti-yak device storage.
Okay.
The rod of yak death.
So I should point out that it's very, very warm down here. And to the east, which is a pleasant sort of change from the cold of the mountain above, but it's also, kind of uncomfortably warm. To the eastern side, well, should I start with that or start with the other one? Let's see. Let's start with...
That was the other one. Why not? Mix
I
up
will
a bit.
start with the one. Yeah, I will start with the one to the west. Okay, so to the western side, so over to the west over here, over in this direction, you hear clanking of iron and chain, and you hear the sound of clang, 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 and you hear sort of just like the movement of these large either machines or carts or something metal moving along metal to the western side. To the eastern side, you don't hear the clanging, but you do hear the same clanking of chains, and in addition, you hear shouted commands. Like, you know, and then like people yelling back and forth to each other.
And we have the feeling that if we wait, the elevator will go down another level.
That's
I've
correct.
got
Although
the
you
feeling
also
that's
don't,
not all that'll happen.
yeah, exactly. You also don't know what's going on above you because there are, you know, yak folk above you that are like looking down at you.
They could start dropping things any time now they know we're here.
I reckon we leg it to where the orders aren't being shouted.
Away from the orders.
Yeah. Okay.
Away from the authoritative voices.
Is there any mechanism we can try and wedge while we're down here on the platform?
To try to keep it in place?
Yeah, or slow it down.
Way too
There's a
large.
lever that says like stop elevator.
Emergency stop.
Yeah, no, there
There's
doesn't
not
seem
like
to
an
be any.
emergency stop button.
There doesn't seem to be any controls down here actually at all, and it looks like it's just sort of automatically rigged to run this way. And the sort of platform itself is, you know, 80 feet circular, basically, with these huge chains. You doubt very much. Maybe if you stuck Urash in there, he could hold it for a few seconds, but that's
Don't
pretty
get any
much-
ideas.
Yeah, that's kind of the best you're going to get. And as you're sort of standing there deciding what to do, the platform lurches a bit, and you can hear that the chains are starting to grind to a halt.
Okay.
Right,
Let's
so
get
they
on.
know we're here,
Something.
definitely.
They have
yeah.
upstairs the level. That's the emergency stop switch. They got it.
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
So we've lost our element of surprise.
something fireball.
You just fire it up
Something
into the
about that,
shaft.
yeah. Something about
This would have
that,
been an appropriate fireball moment. Just saying.
You know what? Next year, when somebody else visited this village, there are going to be little paper sheets up there everywhere where there's a little dwarven drawing on it, which is crossed through, and then below it says only you can prevent village fires.
Exactly, and it's going to be like wanted for arson of the highest level. Please consult Cheech.
Oh, it won't be the only sign in Faerun with Greta's picture on that says that.
It's very true. Consult Chief Karthakai. It'll be like the end of the Blues Brothers, where all at once all of them show up and just all arrest you all at once. Okay, so you're heading west away from the sounds of
That's
commands?
my
or-
vote, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a solid vote.
All right.
Need somewhere
So-
to hide and heal. This is not good.
All right. So
Just need a
I'm going
weapon.
I'm going to change the music up here since you are currently out of combat.
I'll take it. Has anyone got like a stick or a knife or something? I'll take something. I just
Oh, a
feel
couple
so
of daggers.
I feel so exposed.
Don't you
Okay.
still have the sensor thing?
The sensor thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
brazier.
Oh.
That was
Mm.
making that was much.
No, I'll have let go of that when I was swinging it. Don't worry about that. I remember that though. That makeshift flail. That was pretty cool.
I've got an obsidian dagger.
I've got a mace.
I will take that under. Well, I'll take both of those under advisement. Thank you.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to take both of them and just.
I just
wield
want to see
them away.
Urash using a dagger, just like in between two
Yeah,
fingers.
Exactly. Okay, so you head to the west as you hear this sort of clanking, and the elevator again jerks around as if it's going to start moving up now in the opposite direction. And it's the chain you can kind of see is unwinding and winding in a different way, so you get the impression this is not what's normally supposed to happen with it. Like something is, you know, it's being manipulated from somewhere to do that. And so as you hurry to the west, and actually I should bring you all onto this map, shouldn't I?
We would like.
And then roll for initiative.
We
Oh,
like
God.
Like really
You guys will be fine. All right.
You'll be fine. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
Copy. All right. Let's move you over.
Copy,
there.
kill, paste.
And there. Okay. There you all are. So now you can all move your respective characters, I believe. Let me know if that's the case. You can all control yourself.
Yoink.
Um, okay. So you head to the west. As you hear this sort of clanking, and the elevator again jerks around as if it's going to start moving up now in the opposite direction. And it's the chain you can kind of see is unwinding and winding in a different way, so you get the impression this is not what's normally supposed to happen with it. Like something is, you know, it's being manipulated from somewhere to do that. And so as you hurry to the west, and actually I should bring you all onto this map, shouldn't I? You able to Celsig, Greta, and all good?
Okay. Hang on, where am I? I seem to be missing.
You're on the elevator.
Oh yeah, there I
Over
am.
the
I was
two-
You're over the
24.
2. Yes, I apologize again for the numbers.
blending into the background.
Okay. So, as you come to the edge, you look out at
Like a
what is
true rogue.
a very impressive sight. You are looking at an enormous room. And I will...
It's like a golden hand.
It is a
What?
very, very large room. And there is a golden hand. In fact, there's more than that in there, as you're about to see and
I'll
hear
have that sword.
for yourselves.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm gonna get that sword.
I've had enough automatons for one adventure, thank you.
One of the
Have
things I should mention down here, by
giant
the way...
mecha.
I'm sorry, Parn. I was just going to say that one of the things that I wanted to mention down here is that the area here is very well lit by fire and flame, and we'll talk about how that is. So you don't have any problem seeing anything even without the need for dark vision. That said, dark vision is obviously completely ruined in this space because, you know, you can see
Because
already.
fire.
Because fire. Exactly.
Open
So-
to 28 below. Open to 24. I don't know what these mean. These
Celsius.
strange markings on the floor mean nothing. Yeah. 28 Celsius down, 24 Celsius
Yes,
Maybe
I shall
like a-
explain what that means.
Like a mesh floor, and we can look through.
That is, well, somewhat, as we'll talk about. So, in fact, I have to zoom out so chat can see all of this. Okay.
I'm
here we
just
go.
going to say to the party real quick, that massive fist, I'm okay being unarmed if I've got that on me.
That's fine.
Just going to say, imagine Mecha Orc. Just putting it out there.
Mecha Orc. Okay, here's what you see. There are wide iron gantries which extend a short distance into a vast chamber. There are 2 lit braziers which illuminate the western gantry, which has iron stairs leading down to the floor of Area 28. And the steps, these steps that you see, let's see, here is one of them, sorry. Here is one of them, right there. These steps are wide enough that a human fist could pass through. There's holes in the steps. They're basically iron grills. And the ceiling is 40 feet above these gantries. And there is a rattling of a huge bucket chain. And coming through this area, basically from apparently the other room, there is an enormous bucket right here that's hanging from a massive chain, and it's running along this line, going from, let me show you where, going from basically west to east, so going this way. A bucket is going this direction and then passes into a hole in the wall and goes to somewhere else, presumably another room, and then you see another bucket emerging and coming out this way. So coming out from the southern side and going to the west from the east. So these 2 buckets are sort of crisscrossing as they go. And hanging in midair, held in places by chains bolted to the floor and ceiling, is what essentially looks like this enormous head and upper torso of this colossus. It appears to be made of bronze, and it is hundreds of feet long and wide. Like, I mean, it's this just enormous thing, and it's only the top half of it. This is where I would jump out of game for a minute and ask everyone to remember the end of Mass Effect 2. The creature that you've... Yeah, that kind of thing. It's basically this enormous thing. And on the ground, you can also see...
I have never played Mass Effect 2.
Oh, okay.
Pictures to the rescue.
Creature, basically. So like an enormous, like, I don't want to say robot, but like a colossus, basically. You would say that it's a statue, except dangling below the top of its torso are stairs and ladders and gantries, as if you could like climb up into the torso of this thing if you were to get to the ladders.
So it's like a Statue of Liberty thing.
Yes, very much like that, yes. And hanging from the gates, you've already made mention to this hand, right? There is an enormous greatsword and a giant gaunt-like hand and forearm that are being held by cranes. And if you had to guess, one of them, the hand in particular, is sort of moving slowly in the direction of this massive torso. So it looks like it's being fastened onto the top of this thing, or will be eventually. None of you, by the way, have ever seen like a colossus this size. Like, this is enormous, well larger than any giant.
Now,
Does
I
it look
don't-
like armor?
No, I was going to say, I don't normally go for armor. However,
It does not look like armor unless it's armor that people hang around in. It looks to you like, I mean, you would say a statue, but the gantries inside it, that's another matter. Also, make a perception check for me, Saber, as you're, Celsig, as you're looking right at it.
Okay. 19.
As you look at it more closely, you see that what you actually thought was bronze is not bronze. It is the glinting of a black substance which is reflecting the gold of the flame around it. I mentioned that there are these fires, these braziers lighting the room. It actually looks like it's shiny black. If you had to guess, you're looking at adamantine. This looks like the top half of an adamantine colossus.
Yeah. That's adamantine.
What? The whole thing? What?
Yes.
It
More
seems that way.
adamantine than you would ever have seen or heard of in your life, Greta.
Oh, Rash, how much can you lift?
Have I mentioned how big it is? Have I described?
We can just chip a bit off.
Are there like parts lying around or something? Like maybe,
Well, I
heavy
mean,
fingernail?
you could, if you want, you could sort of, go down further if you wished, but the chamber literally is open down below. So you can see those stairs that I already talked about that are over here, but you asked before if there's a floor there. There's not a floor. There's exposure to the top of this colossus, which is on the bottom floor. So basically, this is a 2-floor room. There's the floor you're on, which you're looking at, and down below is a second floor on which the, colossus is hanging above the bottom of that floor. So, in other words, the chains extend down below the roof of this room, and it's holding onto this colossus, and you can just see the body of the colossus hanging below the ledge on which you're standing. The only way
question.
that looks like you can go down into it is over here. You can see these stairs that I mentioned before.
Quick
But there's-
question.
We didn't see an exit.
So standing on this area, you don't see anything obvious, although theoretically the chains lead to the hand, and you could slide
Oh,
down
yes.
the hand and jump. I mean, there's you could shadow with a colossus this. I mean, there's certainly things you could do with that.
cue the music.
Is there a way to reach the stairs that are there at the south side of the room?
It doesn't look like they were designed to be reached from here. It does look, though, like this little gantry. In fact, I'll show you the gantry. I kind of cut it off here a little bit too far. There we go. It
I
does.
have a quick question when we're done with this.
Yeah, sure. Just let me describe this part. So,
Yeah.
this gantry here. Sorry, I forgot this was a gantry. So this gantry does extend from over here. So it basically looks like it's the same material, Greta, as what you're standing on here. So you're on this ledge, right? This ledge is separate from this ledge, which is separate from this ledge. But this ledge over here that I just showed you extends like a plank, like a gangplank or a platform, all the way down to the stairs over here. So in other words, theoretically, if you could figure out a way to get over here, then you could easily just walk over to the stairs. But it doesn't look like there's anything easy from this ledge over to
Oh, I see.
those
I
ledges.
see. So this isn't a floor,
It
That's
is a
all right
floor,
now.
but way below
but
you.
it's below us.
Yeah.
So the only platforms we have on our level at the moment are here, here, and here.
You got it.
essentially, and that one goes all the way around.
You got it.
Okay, I got it.
What failure is this? I mean, seriously, like, oh, here's access to the elevator. Haha. Like,
And by the way, in case you're curious,
There's a
this-
gantry around the elevator, though.
yeah, this little image, by the way, you see the little shadow in the floor? That's the head of the Colossus. You just can't
I
see it well because of
see.
where you're standing, except it's enormous.
Ah. So we could get to here from here.
You could, well, do you want to jump on the bucket? Because I'm happy to reward that idea if you want to try to do this.
I'm just thinking of logical routes that we can get over to here, and this is certainly the most direct.
Well, what about over here? That looks like a bucket.
Well, I didn't see anything.
Behind us.
Oh yeah, with
Yes, you do hear the clanking of chains in that room behind you.
So that could, in theory, do my lines go through the fog of war? Nope, no, they don't. This, in theory, could come out here if this is going.
That's
this
right.
way.
Very much, very easily.
Oh
It
no!
could go that way, so we could ride it around.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, someone's got to check it out.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask
Sure.
is if I can move. Kind of, is this so the this platform, is it see-through?
Yes, the platform that you're on is basically a grill, so you could actually put a human fist through this grill if you wanted. Like the holes are big enough that you could do that.
We don't have to
And
with that.
That's true.
Well,
So it would just have
that's
to be
very
as a dwarf, your fist would go with ease. See, Greta, with ease, no problems.
Ooh.
Yeah, no problems.
Who can we see below us? Are there any guards, sentries, yak folk?
That is an excellent question.
Thanks.
So
Well, this seems like a pretty important room, so I'm
I
just
would
assuming
agree with
there's at least going to be at least one guard. You haven't mentioned that there's people on.
there are
these
no guards up on
entries.
these ledges. That's correct.
Okay.
You do down below you see a very large figure all the way to the ground. Now it's a couple 100 feet down, so like it's a good long way, maybe 100-ish feet at least, and it's a good long way. But down below you see actually 3 creatures in the room. There are 2 large, you can see even from here, black and red, what look like dogs that are running around and barking. But every so often when they bark, you see like a puff of flame in front of their mouths as they bark. And they seem to be chasing after a what looks like an round iron cage or ball of some sort that they're running after. And you hear laughing, and the laughter is coming from someone right below you. And as you kind of look down, you can just see the head of some enormous fire giant. And on the top of the head of this fire giant, you see a flame red pointed crown.
Uh-oh.
And you hear, and he walks over and then takes the cage. And I would like, actually, since you're looking at this, Urash, make a perception check for me, please.
Does this fire giant happen to have a conch on him?
Well, not obviously.
11. Well, it's a giant, that's for sure.
There's something rattling around inside the iron ball. You can't really tell what it is, but there's something weird, like inside that big iron cage. And he tosses it.
Weird.
And he tosses it on the ground, and the hounds, woof, and they run over very happily, and they play and bang into each other. And
And just like we all know that's going to be a human, right? That's going to be a person.
No.
Like we need to accept the fact that this is probably going to be something alive.
the good news is that there's very loud clanking in this room. I should actually put that up there so that you don't think anyone could hear you very easily.
Okay.
If I had to,
better and better, you know that.
if I had to guess where this giant is, well, hang on. Better question. What is this giant wearing? Can I see that, or can I only see the top of his head?
Well, if you watch for a little while, you probably would be able to see more, I would think. So you would see. Hold on a second. Make sure that I describe it all properly. Right.
That means that at least means this is an important person, whether or not this is the important person that we're thinking of.
It's the important person. Okay.
No, it's just going to be another fire giant with a crown.
I don't know. I want to say this is definitely Duke Zalto, but it could like be.
They all wear
cousin-
crowns.
I was going to say it could be his distant cousin Duke Pain in the Arse. Who knows? You know.
Okay. Let me. I have a great picture which I have to show because it's so great. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna get it for you folks. There we go. That's lovely. Yes, yes, please take this. Right. There's good. Lovely. Okay, wonderful. We're gonna go in there. That's the wrong place. This is what I meant. Okay, good. Right. Okay, I'm going to put it up on stream in just a second so you can see this as I rapidly rush through to do this. Okay.
Quick to Google.
Sort of, yeah. That's
This just confirms. I think this just makes me slightly more, this confirms it slightly more that this may be the person we're looking for.
okay.
Guard number 6 in the Iron Slag Mines doesn't exactly have his own profile picture in the Monsters Manual.
Now I'm gonna reveal this, even though I don't want people to get the wrong impression from this, that this means that you're actually fighting this person. But I will show this on stream now.
And wait for the delay.
Wait, what? Oh.
They have a long delay.
It's there.
You see those other 3 in the picture?
Nice.
Let's not be them.
And
Okay.
you can also see behind him the head of the Colossus.
Well, he looks like a massive something or other that I probably couldn't say, but
I was thinking
That's
Space
never
Marine.
yeah, that's another word for it.
Exactly. He's a thick boy. Yes, that would.
He is a thick boy.
Yes.
Oh boy, he a big boy.
But look at the picture. There's no conch. We don't need to do this.
There is no conch. That's very true.
Good luck on this
Just-
one. Chad has already abandoned you. They're like, yep, well, it's nice knowing you. Now, right now, he's below you, so you don't see this. He doesn't see you clearly.
Forefront of my mind is there is a very angry yak army who know exactly where we are right now. And we have no route this way.
I just judge whereabouts this giant is, and I'm like, Celsic, do you still have that dagger? Just Assassin's Creed it.
just a plink.
I'll get in my. You just want to do the
It's just
beginning
like
of Dark Souls where you land
There's
on
just
the
like
dude.
a crow.
and then,
Yeah, this is yeah. I've been
This is
thinking about
exactly
playing
like
Dark
the
Souls
Asylum
recently.
Dealum.
I was gonna say I've been thinking about playing Dark Souls recently. This is giving me mental flashbacks. It's giving me like PTSD for the Asylum Demon. Well, this could be. I'm like speaking
No,
very
no,
quietly to the party now. This could be Duke Zalto, or it could be someone else. I don't know. We have no physical description other than he's a fire giant, right?
Does he have the conch?
I can't see one, but I can't really see a lot of him. All I see is a big boy with 2 big dogs. A big boy with 2 good boys, or potentially bad boys, who knows?
I think we might not want to go this way.
The yak folk will come down soon. We should move because we're not getting down from this platform here, so we need to go to.
Yeah, and I think River took a blow to the head or something because she's really spaced out right now, and I'm
She's
just like
really
jumping
quiet.
in front
Yeah,
of her
she
like
just
this.
seems like not herself. She's just
Yeah.
not really.
She's real quiet right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I would, if we're going to move around the elevator, I would say, well, let's go to the other side because we're not
I
getting.
agree.
Used up to where we can see a bit further without revealing her. Well, I'm trying not to reveal myself. If Greta wants to go charging into the room, that's her prerogative.
I'll be careful.
Okay, so
Sorry.
I could send River first, but I'm not.
Deploy the scout drone.
you could.
I need to raise my hand. I deleted my token by accident.
Oh, okay. I'll take care of
Or
that.
as
Sorry.
fades from existence.
I'm sorry. I selected all to get rid of all of the lines that I drew, and I highlighted my token by accident and then just hit delete.
All right. Hold on a second. That is what happens to you, and
I accidentally deleted
I just,
myself.
I just, in true Avengers style, I just start disintegrating for no reason. I don't
there we
feel
go.
so good, Celsic.
now we got some sound going. All right, that's what I wanted to. Okay. So I need to restore your token to you. All right. Wait, did you you? Oh, okay, you didn't destroy everybody. Just yourself.
No. I left everybody else. I just destroyed myself.
Okay.
Self-deprecation and all that.
Right. Okay. All right. So chat, you should now be able to hear some audio for this. Okay, let's see. Let's go back there. And there we go. I think
Hey,
we should be
there I
back.
am.
All right, good.
What I miss?
Okay, a little bit. There we go. That's more like it. Right, lovely. Okay, so, all right. So instead, you're going to head to the east, if I understand this correctly, to see what's over on
Yes.
this side. Okay.
Why not?
So when you go over to this side, you see that indeed you were right that the this room is connected to the other room, but you see that there are some other interesting things over here.
Like a
I will
fire
describe
giant.
that. So, Ah, listen to that lovely sound of roaring flames. All right.
I'm not getting music through my browser.
You should be.
It is playing.
Is it playing?
Is it? Oh, okay.
I've got it.
Okay. Maybe it's just my browser. Who knows?
Did you delete your speakers as well?
No, I don't think so. All audio should be coming through this.
Deleted my ears and.
Yeah, I deleted my sense of hearing.
Okay. Alrighty. Got almost all this revealed. And again, I am just assuming that we're all aware of this, but I will continue to try to emphasize on occasion the scope of all of this. Like, the size of all of this is enormous. Yeah. Okay.
What? Sorry, I'm super sorry. What is one of these squares in comparison to distance?
Each of these, I think these are still 10-foot squares.
Are they? Okay.
Yes, they are still 10-foot squares.
Okay.
So, as you look over, you can now see this room that is in front of you. And there's a few things here. First of all, you can see that this is the bucket chain here. And there are more buckets on this side that are being loaded onto the chain. So now you can see more of these buckets, like right here, that you can see right here, that are kind of moving, so that there's more of them going onto the chain. They must have been switching them out, possibly, and that's why you only saw a couple in the other room. But there's more of them now, and indeed, the chain comes out from the northern side over here, runs to the south, and then goes out the southern side. So based on just physics, sorry. I'm sure chat loves that picture, but probably doesn't want to see Duke Zalto at the moment. Just want to see what's going on. Sorry, chat. There we go. So we can see. So we can see this. You can like scroll, so you can like watch the chain kind of going down and to the west. But there's more than that there. There are 8 orcs that are working here under the watch of a fire giant. This fire giant does not has enormous armor that they're wearing, like kind of leatherish armor, enormous muscled arms and legs, but is not wearing a crown. And you can see that face is sooty and kind of blackened, presumably from their work, and is yelling every so often at these orcs that kind of grumble and moan and grunt back at him. And what happens is, as these buckets of what looks like there's some shiny, shimmering liquid metal, probably some kind of melted something or other, pass by, 2 orcs with hooked poles tip the buckets and dump their contents onto the floor. And then 2 more orcs place the ore atop stone slabs, and there are 2 more orcs that are picking at the ore that's on top of the slab. You don't know what they're doing, but they seem to be picking stuff out of the ore. And then the last 2 orcs are loading the ore back into the buckets and seem to be shoveling this other pile, which is much smaller. And you see that the orcs that are picking things out, they pick stuff out and throw them in this one tiny, not tiny, but smaller pile. The 2 orcs are loading the bigger pile of ore back into the buckets and are also loading the smaller pile into another area, into another pile, basically. So there's piles of ore and piles of whatever this other stuff is that's on the ground. And they are standing there, and to the east, you can see there is a fire, a very hot and large fire that's burning in a hearth in the middle of the east wall. Now, this does not, although it is a fire, does not look to be the forge where the ore itself is being. If this is ore, it doesn't look like it's being melted here. Like, there's nothing that could actually melt it in this place. It's just passing through. So it's like, if you had to guess, maybe it's like a processing center, something like that for this, but that would be your best guess. And the last thing I want to mention is that on the southern side, there is a large door that you can see that seems to be leading, to the south someplace, and that door is currently closed. Oh, and I'll place the characters.
What's the general noise level of the room?
It's pretty noisy. Between the clanking of the buckets, you don't have the sound of it's not as noisy as the other room. Certainly with the, with whoever that big giant was yelling at the dogs, that also is less of a sound over here. But instead, you have the shouting of the fire giant, who's basically screaming at the orcs. So you put all that together, and there's like a fair amount of noise, plus the clanking of the chains as the buckets go along.
Mm.
So there's that too. All right, I think I've almost got these. Okay, yes, here we go. I'm going to put these orcs on here.
Just while you place those, I'm just going to step away for a second.
Okay.
That's a massive.
Yeah, they're life size. That's actual size. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. right, so we've got copy. So we got 2 orcs there. We got 2 orcs on the ground. We've got 2 orcs over here. And the last 2 orcs are here.
Oh.
And we have oh wow. I saw Fire Giant Dreadnought. I was like, ooh, that sounds good, but no, you don't actually have a Fire Giant Dreadnought, which is a shame. I mean, I'm sure we can all agree that that would be something we'd like. Okay. There we go. And here is our Fire Giant. Or at least will be as soon as I can turn him into place. There we go. And let's do some size.
Okay.
All right. Now, I should note that right now, the giant is not paying attention to you. The giant is paying attention to the orcs, and they're all paying attention to their work. However, you are on the same level as the giants and the orcs. The other room, you were above everybody. Here, you're on the same level, so just be aware that that is the case. Also, behind you, the elevator is beginning to lift up now.
And the carts, I'm assuming they are, I don't know, are they sunk into the floor or roughly our level?
So the carts, which are really like they're really like these buckets, these kind of iron buckets.
Yeah. Okay.
They are a few feet above the floor here, so you could probably reach them. You would have to like jump for it, probably Celsig. I think not by much though. They're not like way above you. They're maybe like, 4 or 5 feet above the floor, something like that. And so they're 4 feet above the floor roughly. But yeah.
Do the orcs look like happy, well-paid employees?
No. Decidedly
This is not the time to start a union.
Well, this is like the perfect time to start a union.
They're not whistling while they work. Let's put it that way.
Definitely not.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the HR rep who has to fire the giant dreadnought would not be good. I agree with that entirely.
I would guess that the buckets might be a little bit warm after transporting molten ore.
That's a pretty good guess. They look to be, you could definitely feel lots of heat radiating, and it seems like there's some radiating from those buckets as you are. I mean, you're still like 40 feet away or so, 45 feet, but yes, that's a pretty decent guess.
Tell me more about the orcs. What can I see? Are they manacled?
They don't seem to be manacled, but they also don't seem to have any weapons. They right now are holding on to the implements of their craft. So 2 of them have hooks. 2 of them have what look like these weird, I guess the way I would describe it would be enormous, almost like spoons or spatulas or something with which they're picking at the ore that I mentioned that is by, and then they scoop stuff out and put it in little piles. And then the other orcs towards the south of the chamber, that's the ones over here, have shovels. And they're the ones who are actually shoveling some of it back into these buckets. And the buckets, by the way, are going very slowly. Like not just basically a few feet. You would assume that when things are running at full speed that they can run faster than this, but they're not running very fast at the moment.
Okay. So they are going from north to south.
That's right.
In this room.
Yep.
How big are they? So like, could we like hide behind them? Are they big enough for this?
I would say, I mean, the buckets are probably a good 7 feet long, probably. And they're at least a good 5-6 feet high. So you'd probably be able to hide behind them, or theoretically in them, were they not filled with molten ore, but
Yeah, well, maybe not do that yet. Maybe later.
See how desperate things get.
Into the ore!
Yeah.
I whispered to my comrades, there's a door to the south. Maybe if we could distract them, we could reach that door.
That sounds like an excellent plan.
And you hear the giant is yelling at the orcs. They say back.
Celsi, could you maybe like make a sound coming from the north or something? and we try to reach the door to the south when everybody is moving north?
Let me just check what I can do with what I've got. To the compendium.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was very stupid. I'm sorry.
You could come up a little bit, I guess, on your microphone, Parn, if you don't mind, because I guess you're a little quiet.
I'm really kissing it.
Oh, okay. Well, can you increase the gain without having to kiss your microphone? I mean,
Oh no.
no.
Does it have like a dial at the back or anything?
No, it has a dial, but it doesn't do that.
Or in Windows? You're using Windows, right?
Yes.
'Cause if
I will have a look at Zoom. Maybe Zoom gives me an option.
that's true. That might also increase your volume. The thing is, I can't. I could increase all of you, but then it'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, like it'll be like way too loud. So.
That's true.
Okay. Let me see.
I'll just ride the volume knob, so whenever Pyron speaks, I'll turn it way up, and then I'll drive it down. That'll be great. Super professional.
Okay,
So, what do you?
The Michael Bay approach.
It's the.
Okay, I just put like 1/3 more on my microphone.
I think that's a little. I think that sounds a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah, no
so
problem. If somebody tells
Right,
me, I can
range.
try to fix things.
Okay, well, problem with my noises is they don't go as far as this room.
Oh. No.
They only go about 10 Celsius.
That's not very far at all, really, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
See, I mean, there is obviously part of me that really wants to just engage in this fight and batter the hell out of this fire giant. But, you know, no reasonable follower of Tempest, and I am nothing if not a reasonable follower of Tempest, would engage in unarmed combat. And I wouldn't expect my opponents to engage me in unarmed combat either. I mean, we're not Tempest followers aren't savages. We've got rules at the end of the day. So I'm more than happy to try, and if there's anything around, we could throw it in the opposite direction, make a good old-fashioned distraction, and then sneak our way down.
okay.
How many squares are 10 Celsius?
10 Celsius. Did we
About
figure
2.
out? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, not to meta game, but 3.
No, 3. Yeah, 3. Sorry,
3
sorry.
Celsius,
I'm
yeah,
selling
exactly.
you short, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if each square's 10 feet, then that's the range.
Yeah, you probably get about 3 Celsius in a square. So
Are these 10 feet squares or 5 feet squares?
10 foot. Use 10 foot squares.
Okay.
Sorry for my printer in the background. Yeah, these are 10.
Coffin guy, is my noise better now? My voice, my sound, my volume, whatever. Many words.
Your mouth
Sounds
works.
great.
How is the decibel of your mouth speaking?
Yes.
I cannot control the volume of my voice.
There's something called...
Outside voice, inside voice, outside voice.
What do I-
Is there anything?
So
like
yeah, so I'm
metal
sorry. So
or-
there are little pebbles and stones in the ground. There are bits of
not gonna
what
do
look
it.
like molten, like not molten anymore, now dried and hardened like ore and rock. I mean, there's lots of that. Everywhere you look.
Out of character for a second, I'm looking for something that looks like a lump of rebar. Essentially, like it's gonna be like maybe fist and forearm size. Like I could pick it up and use it as a weapon, but I'm gonna pick it up and just
Not
hook it in the other
like
direction.
that. There are things which are suitable for theoretical weapon use, which is
Oh,
first of all,
good.
well, I mean, first of all, the fire giant has a weapon, but also even
there's-
the orcs.
Sorry, there's a slight problem with that sentence. The
Yes.
fire giant.
Well, the
has
fire
that
giant
weapon.
part of it, yes. But there are orcs here, as I mentioned, and of course the orcs theoretically have they have hooks, which can almost be sort of like impromptu tridents, and they
Fishing
also
weapons.
a couple of them have shovels, which would be kind of like improvised
Eh,
bludgeoning
yeah.
weapons. So,
Yeah, at a push.
Or you could pick up these things and they look like they'd be pretty good to throw. The problem is just that they're not long in the way you're describing. They're rubble, so you could like throw little chunks and stuff, but not that you could hold. I guess if you want to hammer on someone with a chunk of rock, but that's not that much better than just punching them in the face yourself.
Yeah, that's true. So I turn to my companions. Well, if we can't magic a noise, then we can just throw a bit of rock. What do we think? I just don't know if it's going to be loud enough to get over the voices and the chains and the clanking.
I could make a little light appear nearly at the point to north where the buckets go around the corner. So if you manage to throw a stone over there, I could maybe like accompany it with a little light
Yeah, I could do that.
that would just appear there.
Yeah.
And that would hopefully make people run over there, and then we hope that the door to the south is open, because if not, we have a little problem, I guess.
Well, if not, then we have an improvised fight with a
How-
fire giant.
Yeah, how high is this platform-looking thing to the south here?
That's a stone slab, and the stone slab is probably about maybe 5 feet. It's not that high above the ground.
But workable.
Yeah.
Especially for a halfling and a dwarf,
Oh,
and
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
barbarian who I assume is capable of ducking, although doesn't seem to try to very often.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
indeed.
you do you, Arash. Just saying.
Exactly. I mean, I can do it. I just choose not to.
Okay, so sure, I look at the party. Shall we do it? We try to make a distraction and make a stealth run to the south door. Just hope we can get through there.
Personally, I think that's wise.
Hmm.
And that's coming from the barbarian.
All right, so you're going to try to throw something now. You're throwing it in which you're throwing it like here?
So,
Like where?
sorry. So I'm gonna basically pick up a decent piece of rubble
Okay.
and just chuck it in this direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can
Around it.
make like sacred flame appear 60 feet from me, so if it's 6 squares.
Oh, which would be right there, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna throw that there.
Well, I'm gonna throw it as far as I can in that
Maybe hit the
direction. I'm
bucket,
aware
like,
that's like
really loud noise, like bong!
yeah. Well, I'd like to. Ideally, I'd like to land it in one of these two buckets, but
Wow. All right. Rubble from 60 feet away, from way downtown.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
60, 70, no. All right. That will definitely be a check that you'll be making. And then, are you
Possibly
doing...
with inspiration?
That's true. I do want to point out, chat, that inspirations do exist if you support my
segue.
Patreon on my channel, or you are subscribed on my channel at tier 2 or higher. Then you have an inspiration or several that you could use. You could inspire one of the players here by using that. So you could inspire the players by using one of your inspirations. And if not, you could just head over there and this brought to you by Ways to Give Arv Money, 2020.
Brought to you by Peripheral Media.
Also brought to you by Peripheral Media and
Yeah.
GOG.com.
Um,
The more DRM free.
yeah,
Sorry.
please sponsor our poor choices in the Dungeons and Dragons.
Lone Wolf 67 actually does have an inspiration by virtue of the channel points, because we have a channel point thing on my channel. So
I see.
Lone Wolf has an inspiration, so you could use it. Who wants an inspiration? Well, that's a good question. Who I assume Urash is the one who wants this. But...
Well, I assume. Well, okay. If I throw this and I fail, I've still thrown it, right? Like I just don't hit one of those buckets.
that
It's
is
not like
indeed a statement. You will have indeed still
I
thrown.
will have thrown it. So,
Sure.
and I'm a pretty big dude with pretty strong arms. So, like, I'll throw it at least a good way away, and then they will be looking in that direction, and then there will be a light, and then their focus will be on the light. Rather than if I throw it, I'm not going to accidentally smash myself in the face unless I crit fail it. He says, So I think I'm going to be okay for inspiration.
I don't need to roll for my
He says.
little light, so
Right.
that is also
Echo Alpha's already inspired me.
Yeah, yep, you're already inspired. So I have removed an inspiration from Echo, or I will remove an inspiration from Echo.
Okay, cheers, Echo
After
Alpha.
that whole speech, he's like, nope,
Yeah,
inspired
yeah.
anyway. All I
I
hear
have,
is
like,
blah, blah, blah,
dramatic
help me,
music on
blah,
in the
blah, blah.
background and everything. Yeah.
you might use it. Urash, would you be
Yeah.
fine if I speak a little prayer to hope? Because I think we really could need some guidance here. Would you mind?
Oh, by all means.
I'm putting a guidance on Urash,
Okay.
so you get an additional 1d4 for your next ability check.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice.
So, I'm going to ask you to make a dexterity check for me, please. This is not strength, because you are trying to throw a piece of rubble into an iron bucket from an 80-foot distance, roughly.
Well, books. That's not my strength at all.
Indeed.
You got an additional 1d4, so yeah, go for it.
Yeah, plus 1d4, so we'll do.
And actually,
Go
before
custom
you
roll.
roll, hold on before you roll.
Yeah.
Pyron, when he rolls, Greta, are you putting the sacred flame like right after it shows up in the bucket, or right like simultaneous? Are you know what I mean? Like, is it
I'm waiting for the noise. I need a little.
noise and then light? Okay, all right, got it. All right, you may proceed, sir.
Yeah, just to.
I'm just ready to move straight for about here.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. How does inspiration work? Can I say I'm using inspiration beforehand? Can I wait until the result?
Can't be till the result. It has to be used beforehand if you're going to do it,
It
because
has
you're
to be
rolling 2
beforehand.
dice and taking the highest of the 2 results. Yeah.
Because I have the guidance, I'm not going to use my inspiration.
Okay.
Yet. I'm going
Yeah,
bank
you can
my
use it.
inspiration.
Hold it for later on.
'Cause
Yeah.
I have a real feeling I'm going to need it.
Yep. Be aware though, Mike, that it does not hold. It does not stay to next month though. So in other words,
No, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I have a feeling we'll be using it tonight.
Okay.
So that's plus 2. So how do I do that? Plus 1d4. I can't do another one. So do
All right.
that.
Here we go.
Which is very low. Plus 1d4, which is an 8.
8.
A massive 8.
All right. So you sort of like rear back, and then you do a mighty throw. But as you throw, River, who's just kind of standing there slack-jawed, you have to like alter your throw so as not to hit her. So it ends up landing basically about here with a big.
What was that? Sorry.
About here.
That's not too bad.
20 feet, about 25 feet short of the bucket.
That's fine.
So it hits the ground with a crack. Now at that point, you have the light that you're doing, Greta.
If I feel like the crack is loud enough, then yes. If it's like a silent little crack, then I'm not gonna bother because nobody's gonna hear it.
All right. Well, yeah, I was gonna say you do hear it, but it's not that loud. I mean.
Okay, then I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
And that we just watch for a reaction of the giants, and then we can try again.
Let us see whether anyone in the room noticed that. Let's find out together. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay. So none of the ones that are in range of this, basically the top 3 orcs and the giant, none of them pay any attention at all. They're just like, clang, clank, clank. Not notice it in the least.
Urash, let's try again.
Yep. I'll just wind up and let it loose.
Okay, another piece of rubble.
Yeah, there we go.
18.
18. Okay, so that was dexterity plus 2. That was with the plus 2, right? But you don't get
that's
the
with the
1d4
plus
this time? Okay.
I don't get a 1d4.
All right.
One time.
That time, so this time, it gets closer and actually hits just the bottom of one of these buckets. So you just hear like a little bit of a clank. Now, it does not go all into the bucket, but you definitely hear kind of like a sound effect time. Like, yeah. No. You get the idea. I'm denting my water bottle. You get the idea, all right?
Yeah.
Is it a loud noise? That is the question.
It is a decently loud noise. It's not
Okay.
like dong, but it's decently loud.
So I put a cantrip of sacred flame on that place.
Ah. Okay. The giant and the orc seem to have no knowledge of it, but the orc that is to the north definitely hears something. Kind of looks around and he shoves the orc next to him, and the orc is like and looks over in that way also. Then the orc turns back. Now, as they're sort of turning, and this orc starts talking to the giant, and the giant comes over. You can see that he's holding this giant maul, not shopping mall, hammer, in his hand, and walks over, and they're sort of pointing up in that direction. And these other orcs stop for a moment. Really wish I could turn them. Stop for a moment and are kind of looking this way, kind of like, what's going on? To see what's happening.
And away I go!
Okay.
Yes.
I need you to make a stealth check for me, please.
Okay.
Something like this over here, like go over here. That's
Well, yeah,
where I
so
want to go.
I'm en route. Oh, an 11.
Oh.
All right. Let's see.
It's not even a botch, so I can't re-roll it.
Okay. So you're going down this way, and these ones that are looking over, as you go through, your foot slips slightly on one of the pieces of ore, sort of hardened ore that's on the ground, and it goes click, 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 and rolls over and bumps into another rock and makes a sound. And this orc looks over and, of course, just sees the cart and starts walking over towards the cart.
I move closer to the cart myself.
Okay. So when you get there, okay,
I
sorry.
become one with the cart,
Sorry.
just like,
Okay, this thing comes up to the cart as well. We're going to zoom in on this wonderful micro moment.
God.
All right. So,
no.
so you move over, and there's this one moment where the orc kind of is like, eh, and it like looks at the cart, and you just look below. Now, actually, Celsic, because you lose sight of it, of course, when you get to this side. So, what are you standing? You got to tell me how you are behind this cart, because remember, these carts are hanging a few feet above the ground.
I want to try and jump and grab the edge.
Okay. I was going to say, well, we'll see. Make a dexterity check. Acrobatics is fine.
Okay.
Chad is rooting for an Indiana Celsig minecart ride.
I know they are.
Cover your heart,
16.
Cover your heart. Okay. Now, the good news is you jump up, and you do, in fact, grab on the edge. The bad news is that it's very, very hot. I need you to make a constitution check here. It's a constitution saving throw, actually, to hold on to the edge.
Ah!
Halfling luck.
Up.
No, you grab onto the edge, and you're like, oh! And it's just like white hot.
That's really hot.
That's really, really hot. You are going to take 3 points of damage, Celsig. This thing is like white heat hot. As I get rid of those things. And so you're going to lose 3 points of damage, and you drop to the ground. Dunk. And so a second later, you can see the sort of scaly, legs of the orc, and then you see it stop, and then you see like kind of emerging into view just this like warty head that's looking below, and its eyes widen as it sees you.
I cast hideous laughter at it.
Okay. What's the saving throw on India's laughter?
My spell save DC is 13. Let me just
Okay.
pop the particulars into
I was gonna say I
there.
don't remember if it's Dex or not. Wisdom, right?
Yeah, it must succeed wisdom, or it falls prone and finds me going with my hands. Incredibly hilarious.
Okay. So he looks like this, and then he goes. And he falls to the ground, and literally ROFLMAO is just sort of like rolling back and forth. And the other orc looks over and like walks over and it's like sort of like gesticulating wildly in your direction, but is just laughing and can't do anything.
So while it's doing that, I try and move over to the next cart quickly.
Okay. You do that, and you can now see the orc is over here trying to help its companion. Now, while it's doing that, I need to ask what Greta and Urash are doing, and River, theoretically, as you watch what's happening.
Going this way.
I'm going down.
I would love for you to do that, Urash, but there is no platform there right now.
Dang it. Oh, wait, I nearly deleted my own token again.
All right, actually, let me rephrase that. You can go around the outside. I take that back. You can go around the outside on the gantry if you want. So you would have to like curve around the back. So I want to be fair about that.
Fine.
I stealth down towards Celtic, like being really stealthy.
No, you actually could do that, Mike. I missed the fact that there's a gantry around the outside of it. So do you want to go down there, and then she's stealthing down this way?
I stealth downwards towards Celtic.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to make a stealth check for me and also River. And then I will ask Urash in a moment. By this point,
because
these
I'm still
orcs
thinking what I'm doing.
I'm going to be so stealthy. It's going to work this time.
super stealth.
Super stealth. You are a mist.
Well, rather a loud
I
miss.
think I
Congrats,
get
More of a fog than a
So
mist.
let's see. Stealth is Dex, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so River has +2. One moment. 1d20.
Why do I keep including the party in stealth plans?
That's Rivers.
Yes,
Okay.
that's River's.
So you kind of do
I'm
one
going
of
to come
these.
down as well.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth.
Oh, God.
Just for the fun of it, make a stealth check for me.
Here you go.
Right. So you're like Twinkle Toes, right? And the river and Greta, like Greta's like dun, 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 dun.
They're like falling over
Like
each other.
exaggerated to the river, and the river's like what? And like they kind of bang into each other, somewhat comically, and there's a sort of noise that goes up.
Oh, the
and,
dice gods are on my side tonight.
and this one is like laughing, and this one here is like, "Rrr," and now looks over. And can't see anything yet, but you can see from your vantage point, Celsig, that this thing is now starting to move up to the, like, on this side of the carts.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get through.
I just suddenly appear behind Celsius and he's like, where on earth did you come?
Exactly.
Move through here. Like, whoop.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what the rest of you are doing also?
Yeah. I also, just as I'm disappearing around, I want to cast a minor illusion about here to make it absolutely tortured, screeching metal that sounds like it's about to collapse on them.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Minor illusion. Now, the one who's sort of cracking up is not going to be able to do anything with that. This one... Let's see. Also, he's going to be making a saving throw here in a minute. Okay, this one... Whoever comes over here... Now, at this point, River's gone down this way. Okay, so I would say that you get to the other side of this slab at this point.
Yes. We're gonna make it.
So go ahead and move there. And then now these guys... So this one is kind of like, you know, looking around. His companion is cracking up. Now these orcs have gotten down off the slab, trying to see what's happening over here.
I lost River. This is not working.
River's gone back to the platform.
River smelt food.
River's like, I'm out. I see you over there. Are you...
Yeah.
You guys are
Okay, I got it. I
crazy.
got her.
Okay. All right. So move down here. So these orcs are starting to move in this direction. Trying to figure out what's going on. Why they're.
I'm done. I'm out.
Okay.
Peace. Bye.
Now, when you go into that room,
Blindly going.
Well, at
into...
least it's unlocked.
What is,
yeah, it is unlocked.
what is quite obviously going to be like the barracks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
Oh
like,
God, it has no.
no, it's not a barracks. When you
It has
open
no
this door,
exit.
there's no exit.
Ah!
The room to the south here contains what looks like a I don't know how to pronounce this, basalt or basalt table, like a kind of mineral. And there is a barrel of water that has iron pokers sticking out of it, you know, things you would use to poke a fire. There is an iron crate filled with manacles, and you can see that because the top is off, so you just see the manacles like literally overflowing from the crate. And there are 2 racks of hooked poles, like the poles the orcs are using to the north. Hanging on the south wall is a set of rusty manacles. That's what you see.
So we've got a slab and some manacles on the wall and a bucket full of pokers.
That's basically right. There's also a barrel of what looks like some kind of water, and there's pokers in it.
Is this a bloodstained slab by any chance?
It does not look to be like that. It looks to be like a table more than a slab, but it's similar. No, it does not seem to be bloodstained.
Okay.
Although it is stained with some black, like soot or something, or coal or something like that. That's correct. Some kind of water, he said.
Some kind of water.
Make a perception check, Celsig, for me.
Well, I was about to thrust my hands into it because they're burning, so it might be good if I notice anything beforehand. 18.
Yeah. The perception is actually not that. It's behind you. You hear, and there's sounds of like sort of, coming from the room directly behind you. You hear that the laughter seems to have come to an end, and there's now sort of furious yelling back and forth about something, and there are a lot of voices coming closer.
They done seen you.
Yeah, but they don't know where we
Is
went.
this-
so-
Sorry, just a quick question. Is this a door?
That is a door, yes.
Is this a door we can close?
He could close it, yep. It was unlocked.
Can we
so you
close
can
it?
close it behind you, sure.
Yes, I'd very much like to close that door.
Okay. You can do that.
Is there any locking mechanism on the inside of the door?
There does not seem to be a locking mechanism on the inside of the door.
Well,
Unfortunately.
I think I lost myself.
I think you lost both of you, yes.
Yes.
All right, let's see. The party is all about losing
there's
itself.
a lot of that going around tonight.
I mean,
Yeah.
I lost myself.
All right. Let me move that like that.
I once was lost,
Copy.
but now I'm found.
Okay. Okay, and you're over here, and
So-
you're down here, and here you are. There you are.
What is in this crate?
Okay. When you open that crate, that's the crate that actually not even open. I'm sorry, it's got the top out already. That has lots of manacles overflowing. Like there's basically lots of manacles in this, plus manacles on the south wall.
Right, okay.
And then the room that
Manacles
Celsig
in this and on the south wall. Okay.
Yep, and then Celsig is the one you're in front of is water that you can now see looks to be like dirty or kind of, gritty, polluted water, sooty water, basically, in which these pokers are sitting.
But does it look cold?
Yeah, it certainly looks
I'm sticking
not
my
hot.
hands in
Colder
it.
than your hands right now, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, you put it in there. It does feel cold, clammy. You can feel the
Ah.
grit of the coal, like
Yeah.
scraping your skin. No, just kidding.
It's a bit thick for some reason. You're not quite sure why.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhat smelly. No, it does not.
What
like that.
is this item I'm stood next to?
That over there is another table that had like a small, excuse me, small little table, and that is a. Actually, wait a minute. I'm sorry. No, that's one of the racks. I beg your pardon. That is one of two racks that has hooked poles in it. There's one on this side and one on this side, and the hooked poles look just like the poles that the orcs were using outside.
Okay, I take one of the poles.
Okay.
Did the orcs outside wear some kind of uniform?
Not uniform. They were wearing some kind of what looked like maybe leather tunics and armor, although like leather, like not much, like a leather tunic and leather pants. They didn't have any weapons and no obvious armor or anything like that. They were all wearing the same kind of leather armor, but yeah.
Does stuff like that maybe lie around here? Can we maybe get a costume for Urash?
Hey, whoa.
If you want to do search for it, you could, but you don't see anything obvious of leather in this room, of armorish type stuff.
What's
Also, the sound of those voices are starting to get maybe a little closer.
What's your long game for this, Greta?
I'm looking maybe if we could dress you up like one of the orcs outside, and we take those manacles, and you just pretend that you just caught us, and you're not now taking us somewhere or something.
That's good. I like that idea. I'm just not great at explaining these ideas to other people, is my concern.
Yep.
And I would be the person speaking to other people if they stopped us. So that's a risk we have to take.
Yeah, well, maybe you can just shout at them or something.
Okay. I could probably do that.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, do you want me to roll a dice to see if we can find any uniforms in this room?
There are definitely not uniforms in this room.
Okay.
There are manacles for sure, plenty of manacles, but there's no obvious
Celsig.
uniforms.
Is there a way of getting one of those orcs in this room?
I could open the door and say peekaboo.
We could do get help. Please, my friend is sick. Get help. Okay, I've got an idea. Everyone get out of the way of the door. What I'll do is I'll open the door. I'll see what's in front of the door. If it's one orc looking this way, I'll try and motion them to come in. Hey, this is the only idea we've got right now. We're stuck in a room, okay?
Mike.
Grab it and pull it in like.
Are we okay with this?
I don't
No.
know. I think orcs are
I've got
pretty...
no better ideas.
I don't think I could take on an orc right now. Can you take on an orc?
Well, I could give it a go. I've got an improvised weapon. And a
Yeah,
rage.
but one orc could become 6 orcs and that flaming giant.
You guys do
Mr.
magic.
Zeno wants
Can
to
you
know
do
if
magic to it?
if I rewind the stream and tell you not to enter this room, will that help?
I
Yeah,
like it that you
like a
want to
Prince of
help.
Persia style thing. Like, oh no, I'm sorry, that's not how that went at all.
Earlier in this adventure, we've spent like an hour trying to get into a room like this.
Oh man, exactly.
If you'd have only let me jump on that guy's head with a dagger, this would have all been over by now. Well, one way or another, this would have all been over by now.
Voices now are getting pretty loud, from what you can tell.
How many voices?
Hard to tell, more than one.
Many.
Could be 2 or 3.
Some.
It's not like a horde.
there like a huge cupboard in here where we can just...
No.
I mean, there is a barrel of dirty water, and there's also a crate of manacles. There's a table. I mean, you know.
How high's the table?
It's a few feet high. Probably about 5 feet high, maybe.
Right, this nearly worked last time.
I love how Chelsea's just like, see ya, suckers. Vertically challenged now, am I?
I mean, it is a good-sized barrel and a good-sized crate.
There are some spells on the river sheet that I have here that I don't know what they do.
Is one of them wish by any chance?
What does blur do?
Blur basically covers the image of the mage, so it makes it harder for them to see, but that's usually in combat. You'd still see that something is there.
Okay.
Okay, I think we may be running out of time here. Look, I think it's
And ideas.
Time and ideas. Unless we can think of another plan. I'm the only person who looks like the guys outside. So I could try and get one of them in here. We can try and disarm him, and I can try and take his place. Or
What
we
if it's
just
their
try and
dinner
leg
time?
it.
What
Well,
if
you
it was
never
like
know.
what if it's timed like a gong and you came out saying it's break time?
What?
Going to be a foreman. Right, boys, it's break time. You get 20 minutes. Just like you. I don't know. I don't know what's best. I'm hiding. This is not my natural state. Normally, I would be out there swinging an axe.
The
Do you know
voices
what I
are
mean?
now
I'm
very
Trapped in a
close.
room with orcs outside isn't my natural state.
Look, just hide. You
I already
usually
am,
just
says the
hide.
table.
All right.
Says the table.
Meta, can you get behind that table? River, can you get behind that table?
River seems willing to try whatever. I mean,
Yeah, she can just kneel down. I don't know what to do with her anyway.
Right,
Like,
everyone get behind that table. I grab a pair of manacles and I look like I'm inspecting the pair of manacles and I rest the pike on I'm sitting on the table, I'm resting the pike on my shoulder, like I'm trying to just bum a break, basically.
okay. And are you
And
in?
I'm just
Are you?
inspecting the manacles.
Are you on the front of the table facing the door, so like your legs are
Yeah.
dangling in front of the people hiding down below the table?
Now that's a very good question. Is this
What is
a
the
table
ground
with a hollow bottom? Like, is this like a 4-legged table, or is
Yes.
this like a full stone slab?
It is a 4-leg table. Thank you for the follow, Captain Glad. Welcome to GOG.com. It is a 4-legged table, but it has a lip that kind of comes down from the top. So it comes down maybe, let's say a foot. So your legs would dangle over it, basically.
Okay.
Or
in
you
that
could
case,
you could also stand in front of it if you want to lean on it.
Yes,
I mean,
that's what I'm doing. I'm standing in front of the table, leaning on it in like a slightly, shoulder width apart stance to kind of give the people behind the table enough cover as possible.
All right. How's that expression go? What kind of expression are you looking
I could. I'm not going to show you, am I?
All right. So the door opens.
This is a family-friendly show. Bob.
Yeah, exactly.
No one needs to see that.
There's
Imagine like my feet are shoulder width apart. Okay.
no.
Power
I said
imagination.
expression. Your facial expression, not your.
My
I'm
facial
not,
expression. I'm very.
Now I want to
interested
know
in
what
manacles.
you thought
Like,
I
there's
said.
something-
They did last
There's something interesting with these manacles. So I've kind of rested my hook stick on my shoulder, sort of thing, like it's leaning against my chest. I'm just inspecting these manacles.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
So
Pretend you're a god.
all right.
Exactly right.
The door opens and you see 3 orcs. And 2 of them, one of them, Celsius, you can actually note. I should actually put you folks here.
River, get behind the table. River, get behind the table. River, get behind the table.
Okay, I figured you were all there. And
Yep,
so
good.
one of them is the one, Celsius, that you saw was currently was suffering previously from your laughter spell, and it looks very angry. And the one sort of looks at you, and in Orcish, it says, because you speak Orcish, right?
I do.
So in Orcish, it says, "Hey, who the hell are you?"
Huh? What? Did you fix these manacles last time? Because these are broken.
I asked
How
you
are
a
we gonna
question,
keep people
maggot.
alive?
Who are you? I don't recognize you. What's your sector?
I'm Urash.
Who?
Urash from Sector 4, down below, near Zolto.
Zalt forward, and they all kind of look at each other. And the angry one, the one in back that sort of laughs like, Did you see an ugly little runt?
What? You mean other than you?
Ah, it's funny. It'll be funny when I punch you into this bucket of ore over there.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. You tell Zolto that when you tell him that one of his dog handlers is dead because you had a pop at him in his break time looking at the manacles that you boys should have been looking at. So tell me this.
Yeah.
No, you shut up. You tell me this, right? Why are these manacles in such poor condition? If Zolto hears about this, he's going to string you up by your guts.
And they kind of stare at you, and the one who was sort of the angriest is like, hey, what's behind you there?
It's a table that you should have cleaned last time you tortured someone on it.
And they
We
kind
can't
of...
have people walking around here infected because you aren't cleaning up properly after yourself.
So he sort of narrows his eyes, kind of looks left. He sort of looks at your wide stance, like the sort of like, this is what, as he's sort of staring.
This is how orcs stand.
We always stand this way.
Yeah.
This is the stand of my people.
Yep.
So he,
Hello, orcs.
yeah, I was gonna say it's dramatic.
Pretty much, yeah.
So they kind of stare at you, and he says, "All right, if you're from Sector 4, tell me what you're doing up here in 13."
It's easy. Zolto asked me to do a routine check of the equipment and the manacles. Make sure that no prisoners got out. Like last month, remember?
And they kind of look at each other, and then one's like, Zolto doesn't deal with us directly.
No, he doesn't, which is why I'm here instead of him. Because if he was here, he'd have his two big dogs chewing you up like chew toys. Do you want to be in that cage? Do you want to be in that ball?
And they sort of look at you. Make a deception check for me, Orash. You can do this at +2.
My nerves.
Is that inspiration?
12.
Yeah, it's true. Are you? Because you have an inspiration. Are you using it?
Why not? 22.
Ah!
20. He's the
Wow. So they kind of stare at you, and there's like, all right. Well, don't stay up here for long. You're not supposed to be in this area anyway. You go tell Zolto
Tell
that...
me about it.
Yeah, you tell Zolto we'll go get the manacles fixed. In the meantime, we're looking for some creature down here. He says there's a halfling. There is a halfling, that's what he says. He was lying on the ground. But in just a minute, you're going to see Auric over here, and he's not going to be happy. In fact, he said he was going to come over here and look for himself in just a minute. You
Well-
get out of here quick, or he'll have you for what? And he
Well,
kind of
none
turns
of
around.
us are happy about being here right now, are we? Let's put it that way. But I get what you mean. Now, if I were you, go and find the nearest exit. Maybe they scuttled that way. They sure as hell didn't get scuttled through this way.
And they sort
Where
of
did they
stare,
go?
and then and they turn around and walk the other way and close the door as they go. Okay, so they depart, at least for the moment. Now what?
I opened the door very, very slightly.
Okay, you can see that they're walking towards us, and now you can see that these orcs are now making their way back, and this guy, the giant, is starting to walk this way, barking orders, and these three are walking up to him, responding. You can't really make out what they're saying from here. They're not speaking orc to him, Orash. They're speaking something else, but they're clearly talking about something that they might have found or discovered or something.
Right, I turn to the party and say, if we're going to leave now. So let's go. We need to sneak and we need to go basically straight out and to the left if we're going to go now.
I mean, like down here where the buckets are going.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
Go down there, get in a cool enough bucket, or find a ledge we can stand on at least until everything dies down, or
Well, the
shimmy
corridor's
across
20
the chain.
feet
do
wide. It
something.
looks like we've got about 5 feet on each side if I'm getting the scale right.
You do.
Yeah, we should be fine. We should be absolutely fine.
River speaks up. I can cool down a bucket.
Yes. River can cool down the buckets if needs be. But what I'm saying is there's a giant coming this way right now, which I ain't going to be able to bluff. I'm very pleased that I was able to bluff the orcs, but that ain't going to work twice.
Yep.
The problem with our stealth plans, they seem to start strong. I taper off towards the middle, and yeah. Then we ended up having to leave in a hurry, which is kind of the opposite of stealth.
Well, they are far enough away that we could run to where we needed to go right now.
Whatever anybody does, it's kind of suicidal to take the bucket chain, so nobody's gonna expect that.
Yeah, and we're all
I'm
about
not grabbing a
suicidal
bucket
plans.
again.
You're gonna cool it down before this time.
It may have cooled down by that point, or cooled down enough. Who knows? Grab onto me. I'll hold it.
If you catch fire, I'm letting go.
Well, then at least you've not caught fire, right?
Pragmatic.
There you go. Right, but seriously, we gotta go.
We're so gonna regret it. We're so gonna regret this, but let's do
I'm
it.
We're gonna
going
regret
to-
staying here.
I'm already sneaking out as quickly as I can.
Okay, let's
We're
go.
definitely gonna regret staying in this
Checking
office.
around the door before I actually emerge, but that was just my general path.
Yep. They are now talking, sort of furiously gesticulating back and forth. This one, the giant seems to be very unhappy, basically, and is kind of yelling back and forth. And the orcs keep pointing over their shoulder back towards the door where you just were, Orush.
Quick.
All right, so I need everybody to make stealth checks for me, please.
Oh no, way! Don't! Why do you do this every time?
Because this is.
You say, I need to stealth. I'm like, sounds good. Let's find out if you can. Oh my gosh, Celsius is just a whisper of wind.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Orush.
Bye.
21. I'm just like, I am missed right now.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna put a guidance on myself. There we go.
That's
Okay.
an excellent idea. Also, just super quick shout out to Aqualpa. Thank you so much for that inspiration. That's really,
I have a natural 20.
Wow,
I
see?
have a natural 20.
Greta's just like, like a flame in a candle. Like,
I finally
just-
got the stealth
how
thing.
about River?
it's
I
fine.
just come on.
River,
Now you're overdoing it.
River will crit it. It's fine.
River's
We
River,
don't need to. We don't need to
Oh,
roll. for
walking
it.
ahead.
We don't need
River
to.
also gets the guidance. So, this.
Oh my
Oh
god!
my gosh!
There we go.
3 crits on 1 check. What is this nonsense? Wow. All right. Well,
That's impressive.
that is very impressive. I'm
3
waiting for the
crits
3
on
crit
1 check.
fails that's going to happen next, you realize.
I've already used up 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean that was impressive. What was I going to say? Because you're sort of going that way. I'll turn you back
Finally.
this way. Yeah,
We're
exactly.
so quiet. The door doesn't even open. Like
Exactly.
that's how.
Oh man.
Like we're just gone. We're not there anymore.
My favorite description of stealth is when Bilbo is going in The Hobbit is going down to see Smaug for the first time, and
Yep.
the line is "Smoke on the wind could hardly have surpassed his noise." And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like that is stealth with a capital S. That's basically what Celsic just did, just like, So you ninja silently move down this way. Now, as you move in this direction.
Xeno rigged.
So you move along this way, and you come to the end of the corridor. Whoops, sorry. Right here. And right here, you see yourself on the outside of the room that you were before, except you are now looking down. The buckets go over your head, and you're looking down at the room below, just as we were before. You're now here, so you're a lot closer to this gantry, but you're still 20, 30, about 80, 90 feet away from it.
Can we see where the buckets are going?
Yes, a little bit actually. From this angle, you can see a little bit of where they're going. They seem to be passing down this way into another room, but you can't make out, that's just too far away on that side of the room what that is. But they seem to be going into another room. This entire level seems to be sort of designated for the processing of this ore and sending it somewhere to do something.
I look at the others and I say we should maybe get out of the buckets when we reach the other side. So because I don't think we want to go where they are going to be refilled. So let's
That's
get out.
very true.
Well, here.
That's a very good idea.
Okay.
Okay,
So
can
you're
I-
going to try to cool it down, you said?
Yes, I thought like with the wait
Well, wait, are they still hot at this point?
They are still pretty hot. I mean, this
Let's
is...
touch one and find out.
They're still pretty hot. These things, because it's been basically slowed down for like maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and like this is
Yep.
still is like molten to begin with. So
Okay.
my idea was cold breath.
okay,
So she's like, cool down. No?
okay. I think you can do that, yes, and I think it will cool it down. What I would say is that the cooling will last for a little while, but. Well, let me see. Combined with the... Yeah, I think the cooling will last for a little while. it will then start getting hot again, but it won't get as hot. It might get hot enough to hurt you, probably not hot enough to kill you though. And it won't be that way to begin with. Like initially you could cool it, get in it, and you'd be fine. But after probably a good, I don't know, minute or so, it would be starting to warm up again. And then, you just don't know exactly how hot it will get, but it certainly won't get as hot as it did before.
Well, cold breath is just an action, so she could just like sit in the bucket and still go like.
Just like continually breathe on it to keep it cold. But she has to recharge that though, right?
It doesn't say. It just says action, if I understand it correctly. Wait, say I'm gonna breath weapon. Wait, give him a moment. Each credit, a successful one.
I think it has to recharge on a 5 or a 6, if I'm not mistaken. I'm opening it now to look myself.
It's Dragonborn traits on the left side. It says breath weapon.
Oh.
Are recharges after you finish a short or long rest. Okay, so I can do it once, or she
Right.
can do it once.
There
rather.
we go, yeah.
Well, but still, I think that's our best thing.
Seems logical.
But she also has the cantrip Ray of Frost. So she should be able to do that again and again.
That's true. That will not do a lot, but because it's just it's a decent amount of ore. Remember, you're getting into something which is like, something like 5 by basically 40 cubic feet of ore. So, Ray Frost is not going to do that much. But combined,
Yeah, okay, let's do this.
All right. So you're gonna.
How much
you're getting to
water
the
are we
edge.
carrying?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, so you're gonna jump in the bucket, I believe, is what you said.
Yeah, well,
after
first we
breathing.
cool the bucket, then we jump in the bucket.
Okay, so she does that. You can see the ore kind of freezes over and basically becomes very turgid and slow moving. And you can still feel heat rising from it, but there's just this hissing of steam coming up from it as well. So, and this is the one that I'm assuming is like right about, say, here would be my guess. So
Gives
you
us some time to get on.
yes,
Yeah.
you can do
We
that
need
if
a
you
little
wish.
bit of time to get on. Let's not do it too close to the edge. That would be.
Yeah.
That's very true.
All right, so you guys can clamber up into it. As you clamber up into it, I'm going to ask you all to make dexterity checks for me. These won't be very difficult because it's not moving very fast, but or acrobatics would be fine too if you have that.
I'll take that. Acrobatics is kind of my thing. Oh, he says. Yeah, horrendously low
That's a
score.
save, Greta.
Oh, but it's still. Oh well. Do I need to redo it?
Is it the same? It's the first 13. So
Yeah, it's the same.
13.
It's
Okay.
at -1, so it wouldn't change.
So you hold on to it. You're able to pull yourself in. It's still warm. It's kind of like hot tub warm, but it's not it's not too bad yet. Orash, you kind of struggle a bit. I would
And
say.
River.
All right, River gets in as well. Selsig, both you and Orash don't really get up the first time, so I would say you were starting here. It then moves to this next
no.
spot, so you could try.
Okay. Yep. 13.
All right, so you get in. The bucket sort of tilts around.
I help Celtic in.
Here we go.
I was gonna say because it gets here. Okay, so you, go ahead and do it
assist
again,
Selsig.
Selsig, but you can do it at advantage because Urash is helping.
Okay. Ah, 17.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, 6. I was really rooting for it to be here and be like, wait, but you got it. Okay, so you're all now in this one, this cart.
Yep.
Okay. And the bucket lurches and brings you over the floor. So you now find yourself in this bucket suspended many, about 100 plus feet above the ground as the chains rattle above you. And you get to about probably here when you can feel the water is beginning to warm up again rather uncomfortably.
I empty my water skin into the
Okay.
bucket.
Okay. You hear a little and that's it.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much, but what do you want from me?
Yep. Chugga. Gets to about here. Now it's starting to get pretty uncomfortable again.
Yeah,
Well, that's
but
okay. We
River goes like
Stick
scorching,
with it.
like the ice ray thing.
Like the
frozen.
ray of frost, like multiple hits. Cools it down a bit, but it's kind of like throwing an ice cube into a river of lava. It's really, really hot. And it starts to get extremely hot as you get over just over the gantry here.
and we
I
jump
jump
out
out.
of the gantry.
You're gonna jump out? Okay. All right, you're able to do that without a check. So you basically roll off, hit the ground. There's a hissing sound of steam as you all sort of hit the ground, and you're now on this gantry. I will move you over to there.
Where? No, didn't we want to go up there where I put the red line?
We pretty much are though.
No, we're not. It's not. That's higher, isn't it?
Oh, we're here, and that's there.
Yeah,
So
it's the
these-
same. It's
these
the
are the
same
same
level.
levels.
It's
It's
the
the
same
same
level.
level. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same level.
Yeah, so you could go
just
from
like on
here
the
to
other
here,
side.
basically.
Yeah, just like on the
okay.
other
You
side.
I
could
was-
go out that way.
Because I don't want to go down to the dog guy because he's
No. No.
He's still down there, by the way. And as he's kicking that around, actually, have River make a perception check for me, please, because River kind of blankly turns around and sees something.
That's right. Just to be
Actually-
clear again, that leads down to the floor where the dogs and presumably the Giant King is.
And the Colossus
Yes.
as well.
Yes, and also because of that conversation I had with the orcs, and I bluffed that was Duke Zalto with his dogs, and they didn't argue. I'm now more certain than ever that is definitely the guy we're after.
And in answer to that perception check, the River notices that inside this ball, which is being sort of bowled around and thrown by the big creature down there, is... Make sure I found the right place. Yeah.
I messed up a little bit there. That was, River's wisdom is not that high. You need to take off 2 of this. It's 14.
14, that's still enough. You can see that inside this this hollow iron ball, this cage thing, you can see that there is what looks like a roasted corpse that looks to be roughly gnome or dwarvish size. So it's like, you know, if you've ever played with a dog with one of those things where you put the bone inside the ball, it's a roasted rock gnome corpse for these creatures to run after.
Yeah, wonderful.
Well,
Thank you for that detail.
this sucks.
But otherwise, you're now up on the gantry. So, and the buckets continue to rattle into the room to the west. And I should say, by the way, that the passageway you can see does lead to this room in the west. There's more warmth coming from there. And you hear this huge sound of not only clanking, which you've been hearing all along, but also creaking, as if of something turning, coming from here somewhere. But you can't make out a lot of the details. I would say well done at this point, Dragon. Sorry, fine.
We nearly were. Sorry, I just.
Yes, indeed.
We're still on this mesh, so whenever
Yeah.
someone would look up, they would see us walking around here, right?
Theoretically, that's right.
Well, they might do.
I totally want to know what's... Can I paint this?
I can do that thing I do and check down here.
I would like to know what's here.
That would be a good idea.
Down that
Okay.
way, yeah. You'd have to go up to see that. And there's also, remember, these stairs over here. So you got stairs, you've got this passageway this way that the buckets are running into, and then you've got whatever. You'd have to go up there to see that.
I'm going to go and do the thing I do and sneak along the corridor
The
to
thing
the
you
edge
do,
here.
you
Yep.
do you.
Thing you do. Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check for me, please.
Okay. 15.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if that would be good enough. Okay. All right. So, yeah, you seem, with the clanking of the chains and the sound of the room you're going to, definitely you don't seem to have any problem as you get closer. And when you get to the edge of the room, you can see a rather, I would say, troubling sight
Oh no.
here. There is an enormous wheel in the middle of this room with many spokes. You can actually see it there on the floor. And around that wheel, there we go, are positioned a number of creatures. Let me move that over there so we can see that. Okay. So there is an enormous wheel, as I say, that's made of iron gears and these wooden spokes. And the wheel is rigged to the bucket chain that travels throughout the forge. So this is the thing that's actually moving the buckets along on their chain. Turning the great wheel are 10 dwarves and 10 what look to be humans. And all of them have manacles around their ankles. And you can see that they all look exhausted. Like, you know, a few of them are like almost falling over. Watching over them are 2 large creatures that you definitely know enough to know are ogres. They are clad head to toe in spiked iron armor. And as you're sort of watching, you sort of look and then see these things as they're moving around. One dwarf kind of staggers and falls, and an ogre runs to, or walks over to the thing, grabs the body, tosses it against the wall, and then bellows, "Rawr, rawr, rawr." And after a couple of, probably about maybe, 30 seconds or so, coming from the south, down here, you see several what look like hobgoblin guards bringing in another dwarf, manacled. And they bring them over, basically fresh, and bring them over to the now vacated spoke, and takes over and begins to push it again. And you can also see that there is a fire, which is up here in the hearth. And there's the passageway where the buckets go this way. And there's also a passageway over here, and another one here, and the one that just came out of, the hobgoblins came out of with the dwarf from the south. And that's what you can see from your vantage point.
Okay. I'm going to head back to the party.
Well, this is despicable.
Fire giants,
So,
not nice.
What did you see?
The Yak people aren't the only ones with slaves.
Okay.
2 big spiky ogres. And a lot of hobgoblins. They're working them to death.
The hobgoblins? They have enslaved hobgoblins?
No. They were working for them.
Who are the slaves?
Humans, dwarves, you know, the stronger species. Halflings are just good for the fields, apparently.
Well, we're going to try and free him, right? I mean, that's...
Well, the halflings are pretty much dead, I think.
Well, that's kind of what we do. We're going to do our best. I'm just not sure we can do it in our current state.
Not charging in. Something else is bothering me.
What?
I mean, we're here to nick this conch. What's he building this? I gesture at the Colossus. What is he building that for?
Well, war.
Nothing good.
What good does it do us getting the conch if he gets that finished before we're done?
I don't think we can take that thing on, but if we get the mighty giant king back, maybe he can take it on.
Yeah, I guess they'll follow their king if we find a king.
Yeah, you're not thinking. What if it never gets finished?
What do you have in mind?
I don't know yet.
I don't think there's anything we could destroy that they can't repair. They seem to be really good at this smithing thing.
We haven't seen everything yet.
So look, we've seen at least 2 fire giants, 6 or 7 orcs, a couple of ogres, you said, handful of hobgoblins, and some what look like fire dogs, fire hounds, and Colossus.
They're smelting adamantite. You don't just do
I
that
don't know what that means.
in a forge.
Right.
Adamantite's one of the hardest metals you will ever see. Even dwarves don't make that easily. I look over at Greta to see if she disagrees.
I don't disagree.
Okay.
Although she comes from a silver mining city, so it's not, but still.
But I'm sure you would be aware of
Yeah.
the manufacturing of adamantite.
The Colossus doesn't even look remotely finished, so I'm not sure what you're gonna do. I mean, flood this thing with lava?
I'm just saying something's got to be allowing them to smelt it. Let's at least see what that is. or try and find it.
Maybe you could.
So
Could you maybe?
we
There's still like the way out of the big hall below. If you could
Mhm.
go a little bit to the north and maybe look around the corner there.
Yeah.
So we find the conch. That's the most important thing at this point, right? Stop this uprising of giants. That's what we're here for.
I would like.
If we were to scupper the plans of Duke Zolto by either disabling or destroying his operation, freeing his slaves, and generally just ruining his day, I'm down.
I would like to free the slaves, but the question is, if we risk freeing them down here, what kind of support can we give them? Will they not get slaughtered right away?
Yeah, we're not in physically and equipment-wise. I have no blade. I can barely put up a fight. We're all injured. Like right now, this second, we can do little for them, other than be martyrs for them.
You're thinking in straight fight terms.
Well,
That's not what I'm looking
yeah.
for.
I'm just like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Greta looks down to the floor, and then looks up at you again and said, "There's something that I wanted to bring up just in case. You know, this whole operation seems to be a little bit dangerous, at least, and I might have not made the best calls in the last few hours. And you know, just in case I don't make it, would you go to a temple of Pholtos when all of this is over, so they can and inform them, you know, just so that somebody knows and can inform my family?"
Oh wow. I mean that's huge. I mean, we're all going to get out of this. Don't worry about it. I mean, this is a tough spot, but we've all been in tough spots before. That being said, I think, you know, we all know, I think we've ever had that chat, you know, if any one of us doesn't specifically make it out of here, what happens to that person, or who do we notify? But I tell you what, we all get out of here okay. We can have that discussion and we can make these plans, but right now we've got to think we are going to get out of here one way or another. All we need to do is find that conch, use that conch however we need to, and we're out.
I want to get out here, that's not the thing, but I would feel less burdened by the thought of what might happen if I knew that you guys would, you know, get the information on.
Okay. We'll do it. I'll do it at least. I don't know about Selsig.
I'll honor her.
If you fall, I will let someone from the Church of Pholtos know.
Thank you.
And I will let them know that you met such an end that is worthy of song and story and legend.
I laugh and say, well, maybe they make me a saint.
We'll build you our own statue.
Your holy symbol shall be a collapsing tower.
But enough talk of the end. This is not the end. This is merely a stopping point. We are just tired and exhausted. We've been through much already, but there's still a lot to go through if we're gonna. Urash kind of shrugs and smiles. Save the world, and that's what we're here for, right? Whether we like it or not, we are gonna save the world.
Greta smiles sarcastically. Yeah, let's save humanity.
Yeah, why not?
Well, they can't save themselves.
Apparently not.
I kind of put like a hand on on everyone's shoulder.
I was putting my hand out into the middle.
Yeah, me too.
I turn River in the right direction so she can join.
I'm just glad we got this. All right, we are stronger than this. We are going to get through this one way or another. Every single thing we've faced, we've gone past, we've gone over, we've gone round one way or another. Collectively, We've gotten through what's in our path together. Can't do this alone. If we'd have done this on our own, I'd have died in one of the 10 towns, which, because of concussion, I can't remember its name anymore. Bryn Shander. I'd have died outside Bryn Shander if I did this alone. I'd have died because you wouldn't have helped resurrect me, Gressel. I'd have died because Celsig wouldn't have taken one of the kills that I'd have inflicted on an enemy and, stopped me from going insane from bloodlust because of this curse. I couldn't have done any of this without you. And together we can do all of this. I have absolutely no doubt of it.
You are my friends, and I stand with you and your stupid decisions.
Okay, then let's do a slave. Let's free the slaves. Let's destroy an adamantium colossus, and then steal the conch and save the world.
For humanity.
Sounds like a regular Tuesday evening.
Yes.
We got this, but I hate to be this voice because every inch of me is wanting to pick up the closest weapon, and I'm kind of still holding my hook at this point.
Okay.
And just charge in there and just go at them as hard as I can. And I want to, but I don't want to without my axe, and I don't want to without knowing that I can help you guys in the best way I can. And I know we're not in a good position right now. And I know this is the worst position to be in, a bad position, but I know together we can get through this. So let's think of the smartest and best way we can get through this.
Well, smart thing is like Celsig ahead to stealth and not let's all stealth.
I point down where the bug is going. That's not the smart way.
Right. And we're not. I think it's safe to say we're not going to leave here without freeing those people. That won't sit right with me if we do that. If we're just like, you guys are fine, see you later, we're off to save the world. This is part of the world, and this is a part of the world that needs saving because of these actions that have happened.
Yeah, still I don't want to save them to have them slaughtered right away, so maybe they can wait for 30 minutes until we have a better plan.
Exactly. And that's if that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do. If we need to be in a better position so we can save these people, we can screw up this operation, we can stop this. And I kind of motion to the Colossus down below, this whatever this is, this headache on legs from moving and being a thing, then even better, because that's once that's up and mobile and moving, that no army is going to stop that.
I know how to stop it. We were thinking too complicated. I'm looking at this thing and I think it's giant and it's made of adamantane, and we could never possibly destroy it, or the machines. Even if you destroy the machines making it, they will be repaired. But we could steal the plans. I mean, they must have some plans for this. And I'm not sure how many copies they have, because I don't think they have like 10 copies of this lying around.
Well, yeah, that's a solid plan. I assume that's a solid plan. I don't really know much about plans or sketches or things like that, but if you can't make a meal without a recipe, you can't make a weapon without a guide, that sort of thing. If we steal that, if we get rid of that, then that can't be made, right?
I mean, maybe we're gonna meet an engineer who's like, no, the plan is all in my head. That's a job for you then, Rush.
Well, then we can go plan digging, can't we? But I say we're not. I think it's our duty at this point to help these people in here, because these people are in a bad way. But we can't do this right now. Yeah. It's not that we're going to leave without helping them, but we just need to go a different way to get that same result. These people will get free. We will give them freedom.
I'm not going to rule out that we're going to have to leave without them, because, like, how are we going to get them out? How many people can the conch teleport anyway? Okay,
Who knows? Who knows? We all hold hands. That's it.
1 minute, I've got a little kid coming.
Cool. But yeah, I think definitely Celsig going and scouting out one of these two directions, so either up here or to the north or to the south, and just see what's down there and up there, while we stay here, just so we know the lay of the land, because who knows, one of these could be an armory. One of these could be an armory. One of these could be an abandoned rest chamber. Like a nice comfy beds with a lockable
I
doors with a
would
big sign on it
prefer
that says
to
"Do not
not
disturb."
go play with the fire dogs.
Right now, yes,
Never annoy
absolutely.
anything that can cook its own dinner without utensils.
100%. I agree with that. They look like they're going to be messy, but we're pretty certain that is Juice Alto, right? I mean, that's a given now. Personally, he's a big fire dude. He's got a couple of dogs. He's wearing a crown. And when I intimidated those orcs earlier, and I said that was Juice Alto with his dogs, they didn't argue. So we can only guess that is the guy we're coming for.
Also reasonable that he's overseeing construction of this thing.
His weapon, it's understandable that he's on the shop floor, so to speak. So yeah, I guess we are going to have to get our hands dirty with those dogs at some point, but we can't do this right now. River is in a bad shape. I'm all right, but I don't feel myself right now. I don't have my blade. I don't have my axe. I'm a bit injured, and I just think it needs to be smarter than, and I hate to say this, than my usual plan.
Well, it's like when I need to get through a locked door. Do I break the door down? No, I go for the weak spot. This is a machine, bigger than anything I've ever seen before, but it's gonna have a weak spot.
You're the person to find that, right?
I unsheath my rapier and I just sort of point. It's like everything's got a weak spot.
Yeah.
And I'm good at finding them.
Oh, hell, man, you find that weak spot and you tell me where to push. I'll push with all my might. We'll stop this thing from being creative. We'll stop this thing from making anybody else suffer.
Tear it down with our hands if we have to. We just have to find the right spot.
Without a doubt. But right now, I think the best thing we can do is just scout ahead.
I
Okay.
was hoping Pyron would be back by now.
Yeah, well, me too.
That was stretch.
I think at the minute, if we choose a direction to go in, and just go in that direction.
Going this way then, because
you're gonna go north. Okay.
Dogs and stealth don't go well together.
Well, the dogs are down here, right?
Yeah, but the stairs go down to there.
Yeah, but there's not just stairs there. There's a passage, isn't there?
There is a passage, yes, that's true. That extends out to the south.
Ah.
So ignoring the stairs, there's a passage to the south.
There you go. There's a portcullis to be clear.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's not stopped me before.
Well, no, that's true.
Well, we'll at least look around this corridor. And if it's another portcullis, I'll flip a coin.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you go, all four of you going up, or just you?
No, I think just Celtic.
I'm just gonna look for now. They need a rest.
Celtic's looking. 8-bit is 8-bit and Arudinel were suggesting looking for a small thermal exhaust port.
Yeah,
might be a good, good option.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
So when you look down this way, you see what looks to be a very large, open passageway. That is 40 feet wide and many feet tall, which extends into a room from which a great heat can be felt. And you can sort of feel, even as you just peek your head around the car, around the edge there, Celsig, you can just feel this blast of hot air like you were looking into a sauna.
I'm gonna venture forth in that direction, but I'm getting paranoid, so I'm also gonna check for traps as I'm going.
Okay. Go ahead and make a couple of investigation checks for me, please.
Okay.
Then. I'll have you make 2.
Right, so I got a 19.
Okay.
And a 10.
Perfectly safe. You're pretty confident about the 19. You're not 100% sure about when you get towards the other end, but it doesn't seem like there's anything. It seems like probably they don't expect anyone to be here, if you had to guess. But this area, as you get here, once you get to the grate, it's extremely hot. Now you can be in here, but there are effects that I will talk about in terms of the effect of extreme heat. I'll mention that in just a second. But what you see before you is an enormous foundry. And very clearly, this is where some of the ore that you've been seeing is actually processed with the heat below. This is a giant room, and also has perhaps even a giant in it. There are gantries, again, running along the back and around the outside of the room. And up here you can see, stop me if you've heard this before, a passageway that has buckets going outside of it. So again, this is like the other end of the loop, apparently, that is leading here. And as you're looking down at this, Celsig, you notice that you're on top of this this iron gantry. And this is sort of rusted a little bit. It still seems like it can hold your weight, obviously, and probably a lot of others, but definitely not quite as in good condition. This sound of clanging metal and rattling chains and whooshing bellows and bubbling molten iron, and there is the ceiling looms 40 feet above the gantry, and there are cable towers. You can see one of them here and one of them here, that are supporting the bucket chain that runs near the path of the gantry. And right now, standing above the, right here are, where are my, get over here so I can make a cut and paste situation. Okay. You can see 4 ogres.
Ogres.
Here, 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 and here, all with long hooked poles. And what they're doing is, as the buckets go by, they're using these to tip over the buckets, and the iron ore goes into what looks like smelters down below. And as you arrive on the scene, you look below onto the sort of ground, and again you see this sort of molten iron and all that. But standing on the edge of it is a large, frankly, kind of fat fire giant who looks to be not as big as a normal giant would be. In fact, as you look at it, you wonder if this might be an adolescent, even, fire giant. Still, which makes it taller than an ogre or whatever, but it's just not, full adult size. And it is dangling a dwarf over the smelter and is holding it and saying, in sort of rough common, "Ah, you're not so smart now. No slacking off for you. How about you do what you did before on the wheel?" And he sort of lowers him by one leg, and the dwarf's like, "No, please, please." And he picks him back up. "Ah, yes. Beg. Why don't you beg for your life?" And then he lowers him again and raises him and kind of laughs in his face. And he says, "Maybe I'll just finish the job and throw him in there so Dad can have another toy to play with the dogs." And he lowers the dwarf, "Ah!" and then pulls him up again. And you can see he has a chain shirt on, and he stands about 9 feet tall, but he is not quite as big as a normal fire giant would be. But that's what you see. The ogres, the ore, and this one adolescent fire giant threatening this dwarf.
Also known as our bargaining chip.
Yep, I saw. I saw that.
Well, at this point, all I can really do is head back. Not a lot I can do against 9 ogres. I feel so helpless.
Only 4.
Only 4,
turn the
and
other
a fire
way.
giant out on
And
the other side of one of the
fire.
hottest rooms I've ever encountered.
That's right.
Yeah.
And as you head
And a
back,
pit of
Where is
lava.
Just quick shout. Where is the fire giant?
the fire giant is over. I was going to place it later on, but the fire giant is over here, right there.
Okay.
And so as you head back with the heat at your back, you hear this horrible shrieking and what you hope wasn't a sizzling sound of something. And that is where we are going to close off our session for today. Well, this things are starting to heat up here. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. It was just there for me, and it was there to go. But we do have to wrap up because, of course, Blackheart is coming on here in about 7 minutes, and so this was great. Though I was really loving seeing you folks deal with a fire giant forge and buckets and the most incredible group stealth I've ever seen. So great stuff. I will start by saying, Chai, we hope that you got some good rest. We look forward to having you back in February and dealing with this madness with the rest of the crew. But you should follow Tasty Chai both on GOG and also on her own channel, and hope the baby is doing well. Moving right on up the line, Mike, this was a lot of fun. It was fun to see you sort of do your thing, and I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a bluff on the orcs back there. How'd you feel about today?
Yeah, tell me about it.
And where will the lovely people see you next?
I felt fantastic about today. I've always enjoyed playing this game. Wonderful people, best game, best people on the internet, absolutely, hands down. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic session. I'm genuinely concerned about how we're going to pull off what we're going to pull off because of our current condition.
You're not alone.
But I'm sure we're going to find a way. Like I said to the crew, we always trying to muddle our way through. But yeah, if anybody wants to catch our latest from myself, you can follow me on social media at Peripheral Mike. You can also find out more about me at peripheralmedia.net. So yeah, that's pretty much all from me. But yeah, genuinely looking forward to next chapter.
Good stuff, man. As always, great pleasure. Thank you very much. Moving right on up the line, Saber, let me tell you what, you showed the way. You're like, this is the way when it came to stealth. And man, like they just sort of followed your lead. You're like 29. You're like, let us also do this as well. And I was loving the fact that you're like, make him laugh a lot, like just hideous laughter when you had the car. That was cracking me up. How'd you feel about today? Where will the lovely people see you?
Well, I've seen a lot of bodged and hastily re-improvised group stealth sections over this campaign, but this is probably the most bodged and re-improvised stealth section we've done so far. Mm-hmm. But that bluff coming through for us at the end was definitely a thing to behold.
It's very clutch.
And I'm looking at my spells, I'm just going, I could have done this.
Oh, that would have been an idea.
Oh, hindsight's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That's the year for it.
2020.
But yeah, I will be back tomorrow tossing a coin to The Witcher 1 here on GOG. Of course, I got to do it. And I'm going to be back on my own channel, twitch.tv/darksaber2k this Thursday, hopefully finally finishing Legend of Dragoon on the PlayStation 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid game, excellent game, and good work today, Saber. Always a pleasure. It was good stuff. Thank you again for doing the Moobot thing. And last but certainly not least, Pyron, it's great to see you here as well. As always, I hope everything was okay with the child and all that. And you also had the chance to kind of like, sort of, what are we doing? And that moment where you're kind of like, hey, here's what happens if I don't make it back, which I should have mentioned that, gave a chance for Urash to do that really lovely Avengers moment that I was really enjoying, where everyone's just like, we've made it through, we can do it again, and all that. So I love that. But you sort of triggered that initially by talking about what might happen if something happened to you. So how'd you feel about today, and where will the lovely folks see you next?
I was absolutely looking forward to the session, and it was wonderful as always. And gonna see me again, most probably, well, for the next D&D session that we need to make a date for. And
yes.
We're planning another special thing that should hopefully happen at the end of February, latest the beginning of March. And then I'm going to stream a little bit again, but I cannot talk about it yet.
Details cannot be revealed.
No, details cannot be revealed yet, but we're planning a little thing, and it's going to be a nice big little thing, and yeah.
Just remember the last time we had secrets on GOG, you ended up with like, hey, Blade Runner. And then before that, it was like, hey, Diablo. So like when we give you secrets, like we don't joke around.
No, it's not that kind of secret in this case. This is a different kind of secret.
It's still cool,
but it's still
though.
a very good kind of secret.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. It's a cool secret. You know, that's.
But it's kind of a little bit like that secret. But still, let's get off and get Black Heart.
It's Diablo Blade. Yes, good. All right. Well, it was a great pleasure. Thank you so much, Chat. Can we get some love for our players? Thank you to Pyron J, to Darksaber2k, to Mike, and of course to Tasty Chai. I wasn't here, but we'll be back next February. Always a pleasure. I really love this party a great deal, and love playing this game with you folks. And I can't wait for next month. Thank you all so much, and bye for now, players. And that is going to do it for us. And yes, it is time now for us to give way to the amazing, great, and incredible Blackheart, who is going to be up next. And Blackheart is playing... let me see. He's playing Mosaic, which I'm not familiar with, actually. So I am looking forward to seeing how that all goes. That's going to be a good time. I will be back here on this channel next Tuesday with the game The Witcher 3. I'm going to be playing more of The Witcher. I'm going to be starting The Witcher 3. I shouldn't say starting. I'm halfway through The Witcher 3. I'm going to continue to play The Witcher 3. but I'm going to be playing it on this channel, which is going to be great. So that's going to be starting on Pen and Pixels starting next week. And I'll be on my own channel coming up this week. I do want to remind everybody on Wednesdays, tomorrow, Wednesday night at 9 p.m. is the premiere of my community D&D game with Shadowed Mage, who's a regular on my channel and sometimes on this channel, and a mod DMing for Kilobyte, Rock God, Echo Alpha X5, which should need no introduction here, and Hoodie, one of the streamers from here on Twitch. They'll be playing Dragon of Ice Spire Peak, and then I'll be back Friday with Esper Genesis, my Star Wars space opera tabletop game, and Saturday with D&D Curse of Strahd. But right now I want everyone to stick on board and stick around for Blackheart, who is going to be playing some Mosaic. Thanks to everyone. Really looking forward to everything over the next week or so. Looking forward to more sessions with this wonderful group. But thank you again to D&D with GOG, and thank you all for the follows, the subscriptions, the support, and all of that good stuff. And I will see all of you lovely people soon. Episode 209 of Pen and Pixels complete. I'll see you all soon. Stick around for Blackheart, and bye for now.